Years ago, everyone was talking about a possible witch sighting on the side of the road in India that went viral. Now a second scary video is making rounds, this one possibly taken from around the same area. An older traveler with a cane appears to be walking down the middle of the road at night in bright white robes. As the driver gets closer, he is surprised to find the strange man is taking steps, but not moving forward, almost like a ghost. Tell me what they are saying here, because they sound excited and I would really like to know what the real reaction to a ghost sighting was. Then the strange figure begins to walk backwards in slow, jerky movements, without so much as even looking behind him once. This is probably one of their friends, but if they actually caught a real ghost on camera, like they think they have, then I guess the paranormal apparition would have no reason to fear cars. And after all, the worst has already happened, and now this feeble ghost is forever forced to explore the haunted road, where potentially its life came to pass. GeoMeo9 is a YouTuber who claims to have bought an old photo that comes with a worrisome curse. He doubted the legend at first, but soon found it to be true with his own eyes. I could be wrong, but this kind of looks like the hologram photos you can buy at certain gift stores. But then again, GeoMeo9 uploaded this video in 2006, and I'm not even sure they were made back then. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments section. Terence lives here, but I'm not going to reveal him, at least not yet. Take a look at his enclosure and give me your best guess as to what kind of pet Terence is. There's a green structure for shelter and a piece of banana, so maybe Terence is some kind of fruit-eating lizard, right? Well, there's no heat rock, so if a lizard was your guess, it was a good one, but no. Likewise, Terence the tarantula has a nice ring to it, but the bandana is not spider food, so that's a no-go as well. Okay, I'll tell you. Terence is the giant, hissing cockroach of your nightmares. This creepy pet spans across all 4 fingers, and its backside still hangs over the end. Someone please tell me this roach is as big as it gets, because I can't imagine a larger one, or why someone would actually own this as a pet. Could you ever see yourself getting attached to Terence? Because Terence will gladly attach itself to you. It's late at night when a group of friends hear a woman screaming for help and decide to investigate inside the house. They enter and look around trying to figure out where the woman is. Soon the cameraman realizes their female friend is no longer with them, and as they head upstairs they see her getting dragged into a room. They try to go back downstairs, but there's someone blocking their path who appears to be possessed. With the group trapped inside the house, they are eventually each picked off by whatever was in that house. According to the footage, the group was never seen again. And though their reactions seem quite realistic, I've been unable to find more information on the incident, so therefore I cannot decide whether this is real or a skit. Sometimes evil energy sticks around a place long after bad things have happened there. This is one of those cases. YouTuber Brittany Crab posted this video in June of 2014 writing, exploring a scary haunted bridge that is haunted by a boy named Douglas riding a bike and a creepy man. So scary. Brittany says in the video that she's in the woods near her house looking for an old bridge near which a young boy had his life taken. According to Brittany, the boy was riding his bike and the man was standing near the bridge and offered him candy, but when the boy approached, the man took his life and shoved him in the pond beneath the bridge. People who visit this bridge feel a bad energy there, and they believe it's haunted by the boy Douglas. According to legend, you can hear the bicycle bell as he crosses the bridge. When she finally arrives at the bridge, she stands in the middle, feeling the creepy vibes everyone talks about, and as she's standing there, disturbed, the bicycle bell sounds, fleeing the scene.
I think I just heard the bike.
She claims she just saw the man, and somehow she gets lost. She returns to the bridge, but the bicycle bell rings again, causing her to drop her camera. Someone picks up the camera in the end, but who? And apparently this bridge and the story really do exist. Several in the comments mention knowing hearing the story. One YouTuber, Golden M, writes, I heard about that bridge and my cousin lives close by it in the woods, and she went to explore it and she said she heard the bike and she also saw the man and kid. Would you dare visit this bridge? I certainly wouldn't. It's not surprising to most of us when schools are haunted. Just think of all the evil that goes on there. Posted by Dundee into the Ghosts subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is from his old middle school, a Coal River Heights school, and was taken in 2013 or 14. This short video appears to show a phantom in the hallway of the middle school. It floats past unsuspectingly, appearing for only a couple seconds before vanishing out of sight. Dundee provides further details of the video's origin in the comments of this clip, explaining who is behind it. All I really know of it is that it was my friend's mom who knew the janitor, and he sent her the video of this. I'm guessing that he wasn't sure that he could record the screen somehow. Redditor Windtree Rock then wondered what the janitor's backstory was, as he was curious why the janitor took the video, and if he suspected paranormal activity. Without this information, skeptics in the comments suspect this is a bug, thinking it's a spider. Others are leaning towards the paranormal, with many expressing fear of what this is. Are you afraid? Whimsical YouTuber Erwin Saunders is being stalked through his magical forest by a fangirl named Carol, and together they spot something special. What was that in the cave? They see her again in the light.
So this species, because they're relatively calm, she doesn't seem to mind us being here, so...
Oh, she's so
gone
cute.
in.
And then again up close.
Can I talk to it or anything? Can I say anything? Shall I say anything?
No, just stay still.
No. Okay.
I really missed Erwin's captures like this, even though they're kind of creepy, and I think Carol is a great addition to his magical team. Isn't nature beautiful? This video shows us it's actually terrifying. Redditor Sarah in Alaska shared this clip of the stunning Alaskan wilderness, but listen closely to the audio. She's wondering if viewers hear a voice, and if so, if you can tell what it's saying. Redditor Endangered Mind 2 suggests that the voice says, "Race back down," and Sarah agrees. As they just reach the summit, after listening repeatedly, I agree that this is what it sounds like, but the voice is not theirs. So whose is it? I don't have any answers, but I think I'd keep off this trail for a while, or never hike it again. This miniature forest figure has viewers puzzled. Posted on TikTok by Satpam Horror, a small Barbie-sized creature was captured walking at the edge of the forest. Watch closely.
Ada tuyul, boh. Gila.
The figure looks just like a human in miniature. What is it though? I'm not sure what this humanoid creature could be, but its movements do not look animated, and it seems to blend well with the setting. Any ideas? Leave them in the comments. Did you ever pull an all-nighter in a haunted house? Paranormal investigators Dennis and Tim pair up as Nerve Paranormal to spend the night in this haunted place. They set up cameras and a tape recorder inside. First, a shadow in the corner is seen.
Стояла будто бы тень вот так в углу.
Да?
Я тебе что хочу сказать-то? Смотри. Смотри. Я эту фигню закрывал.
Once they have the cameras positioned, they go to sleep.
Ну все, в принципе. Только заснуть. Положиться отдыхать. Я не знаю, после этого все.
Something immediately messes with their camera. And then their lights. Another camera captures something entering their room. You're probably asking yourself, how could they sleep through all that racket? Well, they won't sleep through this.
Не вставай, представь.
There's nothing inside, but there definitely is, and I think Dennis and Tim won't be getting any more sleep tonight. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by A Growing Lotus, filmed in the Inland Empire in Southern California, this redditor suspects these lights are a part of an unidentified flying object. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Is there 3 of them?
Yeah, it's like 3. What is that? But then, Mom, stars? What the heck is?
Keep recording it, because that is weird. And the way they're moving, like up and down, airplanes don't do that. Airplanes don't move up and down like that.
And it's not a drone either because
What? The other one's kind of disappearing.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Adventurous Ad 2736 wondered if they were paper lanterns, to which the uploader responded saying, "They move too fast up and down and I don't think paper lanterns can do that." And Faded Claws YT wrote, "It's probably just those drones people use for light shows and stuff," to which the uploader responded saying, "They didn't look like drones in person, but who knows? They were extremely bright. You can't tell in the video unfortunately, and they disappeared eventually. So which side are you on here? Paper lanterns, drones, or a legit unidentified flying object? Let me know in the comments."
I thought I was hallucinating at first.
And that was the other one's like already
Disappearing. I'm having like a really weird deja vu feeling.
Just go wait now.
But the other one's kind of
They're like
disappearing.
behind the gate.
Did they just disappear?
That's insane. What the
First
There's
one.
one right there. There's 2 on that side.
This doll looks innocent enough, but is it? Molly, also known as Akka, is pure evil. Here is proof. The conversation starts out simple.
One of the objects I've put near your vessel. Thank you. Thank you, Molly.
When the paranormal investigator presses further, she receives a confirmation.
Molly, can you just confirm that this is you? Yeah.
She also reveals her true feelings.
Are you negative and grumpy? No. Are you misunderstood? Thank you.
And then the question we'd really like to know the answer to.
Do you wish to harm anyone in this house? Yes.
But Molly doesn't just want to harm anyone. She's got a specific person in mind.
Do you wish to harm my son, Sam? Yes.
It's probably time to take your son Sam and get out of Dodge. The last thing you want to find in a toilet stall is a viewing gallery. That's what Redditor Chopper Ian discovered in a lady's cubicle at a UK pub in Hampshire. Posted to the casual UK subreddit, the Redditor asks, "What is the point of this?" The video shows a small sliding door between the toilet stalls, with latches on either side to lock it. But why would it need to be unlocked in the first place? And why is it there at all? The Redditor notes that this was a nice country pub. Some suggest it's used to confess your sins, others to hold hands. Many in the comments refer to the Seinfeld episode, in which Elaine realizes she's run out of toilet paper and asks the neighboring stall to spare a square. And actually, that seems to be the consensus among Redditors in the thread for the utility of this sliding door. What do you think it's for? This creepy video takes viewers on an adventure around the world through Google Earth, and what we discover is not of this world. Published by Coonan the journey begins with a zoom toward Japan. Landing on the streets of an unknown city, Google Earth pans skyward between two buildings and spies this thing floating above. It looks like a squid or octopus. The dark figure's details are difficult to make out, but it has two thin limbs, a short abdomen, and a football-shaped head. What is this thing? Is it an extraterrestrial? Is it some creepy kite? Or is it the ocean in the sky? Have you ever heard something in nature that doesn't sound natural at all? This video is cross-posted by Cursed Curses to the Chills Narrator subreddit, who thought these sounds were weird enough to share. Originally posted to What Is This by Sir M Sport, the Redditor explains that the strange sound seems to be originating from the woods and the sky surrounding his house in rural Georgia. He said although his phone ran out of battery, he heard the sounds long after the recording ends. The user asks the Reddit community for help in identifying the source of these sounds, after asking a few of his neighbors, who said they hadn't heard such noises before. One of these neighbors, who lives on a hill, said the sounds definitely seem to be coming directly from the sky. Listen closely. The noises sound like irregular high-speed traffic for a moment. But then another tone enters in, like a spaceship door opening. The murmur continues, oscillating slightly. There are many theories in the comments, with Wolfish Fluff coming up with one of the most likely theories, suggesting that it sounds like a power plant or generator farm. He notes the revving up sound could be the activation. He writes, "My guess is that there's one of these facilities somewhere in your area, and the sound is coming from the sky because you're far enough away that basically the sound is bouncing off the atmosphere and then traveling to you. This would cause the muffling and the distortion." Other less likely theories include alligators, unknown flying objects, or a big tunnel. Any other suggestions? What do you think these sounds may be? You gotta pay the troll toll. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, the Redditor is wondering what's watching her son and nephew from under this bridge. She explains that the pair were night fishing. When her son told the person, animal, or monster to show itself, there was no reaction. The thing they capture from beneath the bridge appears to be peeking out from behind the wall. Some say it looks human, others think it's more demonic. But Redditor user unknown writes, "What many are thinking, I wouldn't stick around to find out." Neither would they apparently, because according to the Redditor, the pair fled, but behind him they heard clicking noises and something bashing through the trees. Perhaps a troll after his hard-earned cash. If you think you see someone that others don't, you may be right. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Christina7658, the Redditor explains that a friend that works at a Subway in South Texas recorded this footage from a security monitor after a coworker kept seeing a cowboy who apparently wasn't really there. The bad quality of the footage is due to the fact that this happened more than 10 years ago. This is what the pair found when they reviewed it. A shadow figure is seen rising from the ground near the entryway. The mist-like figure appears to hover for a moment before making its exit through the window. This has most in the comments freaked out, with Typeractive Audie stating, "You can see his hat. I won't sleep tonight." Other Redditors like JCKCS Mama debunk the all too common insect on the lens theory by stating that the anomaly doesn't appear from the edges of the camera frame, as one might expect a crawling insect to. Instead, it seems to come directly from the ground. Christina also states that the anomaly appears to take on the window tint as it exits the building. She also notes that the worker who kept seeing the cowboy had seen it throughout her entire shift. There used to be another video of her washing dishes, and a black blob like the one in the video is next to her. Although she couldn't find the other video, the combination of events has many leaning towards the paranormal. Others suggest that corruption of the videotape or the camera's hardwire issues could be a more practical explanation. But is that what you're seeing here? Have you ever feared you're living a walking nightmare? Titled Daymares, this video was posted by YouTuber Ghosts of Carmel, Maine in October of 2017. The video begins with a short explanation that reads, "When faced with the unknown, alone and frightened, call it Daymares." The 20-minute video opens with a pic of a shadow person appearing in a photo taken in 1906. Which also shows the YouTuber's house. The YouTuber says this paranormal figure has been showing up a lot within the past months. The YouTuber then shows evidence of these instances with video footage of the shadow man standing in several places in his home, including silhouetted by the light of the window. He writes that he has a theory who this shadow person is. The man was short. In fact, people used to make fun of his height when he was alive, making him an angry ghost of eternal bitterness who haunts the living through fear. A few clips show the ghost grinning at him in the darkness. One night, there was a lot of paranormal activity going on in the YouTuber's house, including walking and banging. As he takes video footage of his dark home, he asks who was making so much noise.
They were walking around the bedroom all night long, making noise. I even heard rattling sounds. Banging. Who was doing it?
On occasion, he captures what he describes as yelling in the background.
Well, was somebody down here yelling?
At one point, when he says hello, he is answered.
Somebody down there yelling? Hi,
He hears strange talking and heads downstairs to see if the TV was left on. After discovering it's off, he places the camera on the ground and leaves it there in an attempt to capture the yelling. He leaves the house altogether, but a neighbor starts mowing the lawn, drowning out some of the noise. However, some moving sounds were caught on the video. At some point, the camera is knocked over, which the YouTubers suggest could only have been done by something paranormal. After this, the YouTuber returns upstairs to capture some more footage. When he turns towards the door, there is some movement. He says it appears as if clothing is being pulled out the door. But after turning the light on, he finds nothing on the landing or downstairs. He returns to the bedroom and says the shadow person is in the window again. There is indeed a shadow there, though it's oddly shapeless. Then, something rather solid seems to fall inside the room. He thinks it went under the bed, but all he finds beside the bed is a small teddy bear. Does this video make you a believer in this haunted house? If it does, get ready for some certain daymares. Shortly after moving into their new apartment, this couple began to feel watched, so they installed a camera in the bedroom. A few nights later, they record a full-grown adult standing outside of their window. At first, he is so focused on staring into their bedroom that he doesn't even seem to notice or care about how obvious he stands out against the well-lit parking lot. When the couple inside walks closer to the window and gets on the bed, he tries to be a little more cautious but fails miserably. It's pretty obvious that he is still there and eagerly looking straight at them. He is about as close to the window as he can be, and he is probably really getting into the idea of watching them without being seen himself, not knowing that he himself is on camera. They can see him the entire time, and this is the exact moment that the boyfriend goes out and confronts the man, who quickly stands up and shows no aggression as he walks away. It turns out to actually be their neighbor next door. He came over and apologized the next day, but something tells me that this is a compulsion that he cannot help, and soon enough he will be back at it again, if not with them, then with someone else. Lispy Jimmy is a popular YouTuber and streamer with a loyal audience, but when somebody drops by his house uninvited at 3 a.m., he feels alarmed instead of flattered.
What to do? I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is a fan or not, but...
Now, Lispy Jimmy finds himself in a scary predicament. He definitely does not want to go outside and risk getting attacked, but at the same time, he wants to catch this person on camera for future evidence. He decides to open the door and cautiously scans the yard. He doesn't see anything at first, but then there is some movement across the street. A tall man looks to be in distress as he paces in circles for no apparent reason at all. It's creepy enough to make Lispy Jimmy retreat into the house and check all the locks. He and his girlfriend spend the rest of the video wondering if someone else is there with them and jumping at every sound they hear. But they make it through the rest of the night without incident. I guess they could have staged this video with the help of a friend, but there is also a good chance that it could be a random fan or even an absolute stranger. There just isn't enough evidence for me to tell for sure, but I would like to get your impressions. The Coonan Ghost House is a famous cottage in Ireland that has been haunted for over 100 years by a terrifying poltergeist who was possibly brought about by a witch in the family. Not even an exorcism was enough to rid the house of its curse, and so the family fled into the woods. Now, members of a paranormal research team called NK Hauntings are ready to go exploring the abandoned building in search of the legendary poltergeist and other scary things they can find. The investigation gets off to a rocky start when they jumble their words while addressing the spirit that resides there.
If there's anybody with us, you can communicate. Sorry, I'll start that again because that made no sense.
But something must have understood what they were getting at, because a possible ghost orb disappears into one of them shortly afterwards, perhaps selecting the ghost hunter with the most agreeable aura. The team puts down paranormal devices that will only light up when something taps on them. Just standing near the device or walking by will not set off this paranormal equipment, but a ghost touching it will. It isn't long before they hear scary noises even though there is no traffic and no wind. They're arguing about which direction it comes from when they hear it again. More scary noises.
Like it will come from that direction or in that direction. No, I can't even hear it out here.
There, your cap all that up beside Alex.
Here's the paranormal sound again. Some kind of rising noise just before their paranormal equipment detects a ghost tapping on it.
I can't even hear it out here.
There, your cap.
Just to be sure, they all stand away from the ghost hunting equipment and ask the poltergeist to tap their equipment again.
Or light up another, oh my god.
And when the paranormal energy resides, they are able to summon the spirit again just by casually talking about it.
This poltergeist that used to torment the family, it used to bang around up the stairs apparently in the loft area and...
Capo.
They note how cold it is in the vicinity where the poltergeist is believed to be standing, and the complete absence of life and warmth overwhelms them all. The trio activates a ghost listening device and picks up 2 words you never want to hear in a legendarily haunted house at night.
What? Murder. Murder. Was there someone home here?
I think an EVP of a woman's cut-off scream in reply to this morbid question certainly counts as a yes. A paranormal investigator in South Korea called D-Doc Mikol stands in the entrance of an abandoned apartment building with a haunted reputation that few dare to document. He means no disrespect to the spirits inside and is simply recording paranormal evidence out of scientific curiosity. Nonetheless, he only gets a few steps inside before he sees an object is moving by itself.
누구세요? 누구세요?
A ghost pushing over a box is creepy, but not scary enough to stop an experienced ghost investigator like him. He keeps exploring the building, and thus the objects keep moving.
잠깐만. 씨.
Instead of running away in fear like most, he is bravely willing to examine an object after a ghost moves it. I don't see any strings tied around this stool, but I guess someone could have pulled it away by hand. Just when he is about to leave the room, the poltergeist refuses to be ignored.
뭔 소리야?
A shelf tips over by itself. I thought somebody could have been hiding on the other side of the door, but look what happens when he checks the room.
이거 여러분들 잡기는 아닙니다. 이거 잡기는
A second full-size shelf somehow falls out from within the small space behind the door, which is not big enough for a person to fit behind. And when he checks behind the door, at 6 minutes and 4 seconds, you can just barely see a shadow figure caught on camera. Down a different hallway, the ghost hunter sees one of the doors leading into a dark apartment is open. He knows a paranormal entity is near, and when he investigates a little further, this scary moment happens.
걸어가고 있어.
One thing I especially like about D-Doc is that no matter how scared he becomes, he always makes it a point never to back down. He looks behind the door and into the empty apartment. And finds nothing there. I see no strings attached to the sandals, especially during this close-up taken at 8 minutes and 59 seconds. Then again, this could be fake because the sandals take tiny steps and never actually leave the ground, which is not how a person walks when you think about it. Anyway, he finds slippers in front of another open door and experiences the same scary events.
잠깐.
This time he actually stepped foot inside the apartment and verified that it's completely empty. When he picks up the slippers, you can clearly see there are no strings attached, so at this point I'm creeped out. Finally, while setting up an experiment to detect paranormal activity inside of this apartment, a mysterious figure briefly appears in the hallway. Was it a ghost caught on camera, or was it a prop? A 4-year-old is happily drinking his juice until for some reason the straw stops working. His protective parents get a bad feeling and curiously inspect the package to see what's wrong.
And this is what it's inside. Nasty.
A thick green clump of sludge clings to the bottom and blocks the straw. Slowly, they realize their child has been unknowingly sucking on what could be a giant floating piece of moldy gel. As if that wasn't bad enough, the father flips it over with a straw to reveal an even worse looking underside.
Ew. Oh my god.
Again. Look at that.
The alien looking growth is probably loaded with bacteria and far from safe to consume. So if you've ever been enjoying a packaged drink and the straw stopped working, I guess you now know a reason why. A YouTuber named Charles M is checking out an old house for sale in Las Vegas that was supposedly owned by the mafia. At one point during the tour, he comes across a fake wall in the kitchen and follows an old set of stairs down to a secret basement. The basement extends for a long time further and further underground. eventually opening up into a long white room that's completely bare, except for cabinets lining the far wall. Connected to this room are two other smaller rooms about the size of a closet. They each give him a bad feeling. The two smaller rooms are dark and soundproof. Strangest of all, the doors only have knobs on the outside. I don't know why the mob would have needed a soundproof room that nobody could escape from, and I don't want to know. That's all he finds. Hidden inside the ventilation shaft of one of the rooms is what appears to be a single spent bullet casing. NASA scientists are in the middle of conducting a 9-hour space experiment when this strangely haunting static fills their ears. NASA experts describe the noise only as complex signals. They think it could be anything from equipment vibrations to gravity waves, but I think it sounds like it could be some radio signal from another galaxy. Many believe that some kind of life form was trying to contact us, and I agree that's a definite possibility, especially considering the sound was only heard for a single minute and never again. Either way, the mysterious sound you've just heard was recorded in 2014 and has been baffling experts ever since. No clear explanation has ever been provided, so I'd like to get yours if possible. This reportedly leaked video shows the inside of an underground base full of foreign equipment. Rows and rows of what appears to be storage tanks stretch as far as the eye can see, though exactly what's inside is anyone's guess. Look closely at these smooth pods and you'll see that each one contains the dark outline of something growing inside. It looks vaguely human, though its true form cannot be determined. The video's quality is very grainy and looks to be taken at least decades ago, if not longer. Experts have been unable to prove a concrete source for this video, meaning it's probably original. I think that a movie set like this would have cost a lot of money to design, so this is either a very high budget amateur film, or most likely real footage taken by unknown people. Let me know what you think it is and be sure to provide more information if you have any. Okay, so this isn't a video per se, but it was too eerie to pass up. This was recorded around 10 years ago in a home in Philadelphia. The family kept hearing noises coming from the basement, so they decided to hire a paranormal team who placed a recorder down there and waited. Nothing happened for 3 days, and then at 3:12 a.m. they recorded this. The horrible recording continues to go on and on, seemingly forever. No video evidence was ever produced, but these possibly paranormal screams will continue to live on YouTube for years to come. October of 2017 is when a Canadian YouTuber named Moosey started to experience supernatural problems in his home that were far from normal. Things like spirit sightings and hearing voices. Something is in his house with him, something he can't see and wants gone. One afternoon, Moosey is playing a PS4 game with his brother when the television starts acting up in a way that's been happening far too often lately.
And it's really weird, like, he's been telling me it's been happening all day.
Somebody could have simply turned it off with a remote. His brother Joe isn't holding the remote, but maybe Moosey is. I don't think it was either one of them though, because it looks like somebody unplugged the television, even though they were both across the room.
Guys, what the f***? This is what I'm seeing. Disconnected again. What's going on?
And when you look again at 4 minutes and 23 seconds, you might be able to see the faintest orb go by his wrist. Since this was made in October, I was thinking maybe this was a Halloween video or something like that, but Moosey's paranormal problems continued well into November. That's when it moved into his room. He claims he can no longer sleep because it feels as if something is watching over him.
Guys, I don't know what's going on. There's just something preventing me.
At 1 minute and 30 seconds, there are bags under his eyes that were not visible in the previous video from a week ago, so I see no reason not to believe what he says.
As tired as I get, you can see bags under my eyes because I get really tired at my house.
After days of no sleep, he now has a plan to cleanse the room. Moosey blends a special root with various household ingredients to make a powdery substance that is believed to keep spirits away. Interestingly enough, the sound on his camera cuts out and this orb appears just outside of his room, so perhaps there is some value in what he's about to do after all. I think it's interesting how the sound cuts off again here, almost like the spirits don't want to hear him finish what he has to say.
Demons, be gone.
Or it could have just been a technical problem uploading the video to YouTube. Anyway, after completing the exorcism, he waits until 3 a.m. before declaring everything is okay. He didn't wait long enough though. This is what happens 5 minutes after 3 a.m.
Free me from all this. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Did you guys hear that?
I really wish he would have thrown open the door here, so we could have seen for ourselves what was on the other side. The fact that he waits for almost a full minute makes me wonder if this really was his nerves betraying him, or just stalling to give his friends time to get off camera. Nothing is in the other room, but if he wanted to prove beyond a doubt that his house was haunted, he should have swallowed his fear and opened the door a bit sooner. Easier said than done, I guess. Moosey did eventually move 2 years later. He and Hype Mike are giving a tour of their new house when it becomes apparent that his paranormal troubles are far from over.
Mike. Nick. Whoa!
The knocking comes from behind him, yet no one is at the door. However, in the mirror stands a small hooded figure, or maybe it's just the top of Hype Mike's hat. When they check the camera, the picture becomes garbled by what I suspect is paranormal energy from the same ghost as before. It's found their new address and it wants in. At 8 minutes and 27 seconds, they catch a glimpse of someone running up the stairs. Then they see it in a different monitor right outside of their door before the screen goes white. And that's when what happens in Moosey's old house at 3 a.m. repeats itself. The door somehow locks even though they're on the side with a lock on it, so that's either paranormal or just an oversight in their skit, but I was kind of let down when they show it. I'm sorry, but I absolutely refuse to believe that this person in an all-black spandex outfit is a ghost, so I'm not exactly buying this one, but it doesn't mean that the videos in his old house weren't real, or that this wasn't a crazy fan who got their address. A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. Alton Mene Severo posted this video in January of 2006 of an unexpected visitor while playing with his webcam. This dude is being watched by an otherworldly creature from his doorway. Unbeknownst to him, you can see the outline of the figure lurking and lurching creepily in the hallway before it vanishes into the darkness. When this guy finally notices the figure in his webcam, he gets up to investigate, and he's never seen or heard from again. I made that last part up. I have no idea what this investigation turned up, but I do know one thing. I sure wouldn't want to run into whatever that thing was in the darkness. It's not unusual for a radiator to make noise, but imagine this noise coming from behind your radiator. The original upload of this video was deleted, but was luckily saved by other YouTubers. The creature who's been living behind his radiator starts to rattle it and makes a squeaking noise, prompting the camera to peer behind it into the darkness. After several minutes of peering and not seeing, the camera seems to focus in on something more distinguishable. An eye at the bottom of the radiator appears. It doesn't look like a mouse eye or the eye of any other small rodent, but rather the eye of a human-like creature. The sound of a monkey erupts. Watch it if you're brave, but be ready to jump. Time to brush your teeth. Published to YouTube by Talal Essa in April of 2017. You'll probably be triple checking your tap before you do that after watching this video. Asking why does black water come out of the tap? Talal demonstrates this unsettling happening, letting his tap run with inky, brackish, blackish brown water emitting from the faucet. The color does not dilute at all in the entire minute that he leaves it running. Is this toxic water? Probably not. Many in the comments offer suggestions for what's likely going on, with YouTuber Jack Jamin suggesting the color is likely due to heavy metal buildup, he says. Mick Bradford and Rumble Lane went another way though. Bradford asks, do you have a well and live next to a cemetery? While Rumble Lane simply states, there's a demon in your faucet. Certainly looks like it. This child is learning how to play PeekABoo when she apparently loses her balance and topples over.
Lexi!
Except when you take a closer look, you'll see that the girl's feet appear to be firmly planted on the ground the entire time. Upon closer inspection, it looks as if she falls over unnaturally, almost like she's being shoved. There's now a fierce online debate as to whether this child was pushed by an invisible force or merely fell over by accident. I know that kids don't have the best balance, so she could have fallen over on her own, but the way she takes a couple steps back also makes me think that something paranormal is at play here. This deep web video is a collection of old horror movie scenes spliced together, most of which I can identify. There's one clip that I don't recognize though. Other people don't recognize this scene either. They even think that a psycho could have spliced a small portion of real video into a horror movie montage. This would be the perfect way to brag about what you've done without making it too obvious. Let me know if you recognize what movie this woman is from, if any. If nobody has seen this before then, as much as I hate to say it, I think this portion might be home video from a genuine psychopath. Even dogs have the sense to beware of this spirit. Published by Scary Desk in January of 2022, a security camera captured two dogs in an alleyway, acting suspicious. The dogs are seen watching something as of yet unseen. They then start to move away down the alley, looking over their shoulders. That's when the camera captures this shadow figure moving down the alley. The figure is distorted at first, but then becomes more human in form as it moves down the pike. Still, the figure is not solid, but a semi-transparent shadow. Some in the comments think the video has been manipulated, while others say they've seen ghosts like this and believe the footage is authentic. Whatever the case, the dogs definitely see the figure, or sense that it's there. What do you think? I think something mysterious is going on here. As we all know, ghosts can walk through walls. Here's video proof, published by Full Horror Dose in April of 2022. This scary footage was captured on CCTV in the hall of what appears to be a school building. In one of the cameras, a woman is seen in the hallway. She turns toward the wall and after pausing for a moment, walks right on through it. On closer inspection, there doesn't appear to be a doorway, elevator, or any entry here to explain her seeming disappearance. The way she moves so tentatively is also strange, and her figure vanishes right into the flat surface. What do you think? Is this a real ghost in action? If not that or clever editing, what could possibly be going on in this building? This phantom is on a shopping spree. Published by Phantom Encounter in April of 2020, security footage captured some strange activity in the shop after hours. A meditation book is thrown to the floor from a stand next to the owner's desk. A moment later, a loud noise is heard off screen, like something has been dropped to the floor. The owner says she's familiar with this noise because it happens frequently. One of the handmade lampshades has been thrown to the floor. What do you think is going on here? Jones Margaret writes in the comments, considering the age of the building and its history along with the age of the buildings around you, it isn't surprising that you have so many ghosts. I have to agree, this activity does seem to suit the environment. This short clip captured an eerie figure in an office building at night, published by Emily Durkin in January of 2019. The lights are on in the second floor of this office building, and they're just bright enough to reveal this creepy silhouette. While the YouTuber thinks it's a ghost, the phantom is certainly a small one then. It does look like the silhouette of a human figure, but it stands very still and doesn't move from the frame of the window pane. Do you think this is a ghost? If not, what else might it be? And what the heck are they doing in this office building at night? This one left me with more questions than answers. A video of a human torso walking upright is probably one of the scariest home CCTV moments I've ever seen caught on tape. The main reason it looks so terrifying is because this is mostly a marionette puppet instead of CGI, which requires more work but looks more realistic. Somebody is most likely pulling its strings from above to make it walk, or at least I hope so. There's an eerie sound coming from the Golden Gate Bridge that is making people lose their minds. A constant haunting hum that can be heard from miles away. Try to guess what it is.
Oh, did you really do that? Oh my god. We didn't have to go to the parking lot.
Between the red rails is where the mysterious noise is coming from, and as it turns out, this is from a mistake in a recent redesign of the bridge. The new rails were mistakenly spaced apart just enough to let the wind come screeching through at an unbearable volume. It happened in June of 2020, and as of the time of this video, I was unable to find any evidence that it's been fixed. Two things that you should never mess with: a Ouija board and the spirit world. Posted by Big Rig Jiggin to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Big Rig claims that when he leaves this Ouija board out on the table, something strange happens. According to Big Rig, this video has been time edited due to it taking over 70 hours to get this footage. I tried to sit and watch for the movement so I could record. The only times it was happening is when I left the room and came back hours later. Big Rig leaves a Ouija board on the table with the planchette sitting at the top pointing downward. He passes his hand over the table and around the planchette, assumedly to show there are no strings attached. Then he leaves the room. The planchette sits still for a long while, but after a time, it starts moving around the board. It appears to slide all across the board, moving around of its own accord. The movement is also shown at a different angle. As you can see, the desk is thick, so magnets are likely at play here. NitroFox0 states in the comments that leaving the planchette on the board is a big no-no, and the fact that it's trying to leave the board means the spirit is trying to escape. Never really thought of that. Now this unexplainable Ouija board activity seems even creepier. Basements are inherently creepy, but this basement's resident shadow person will make your skin crawl. A shadow person was caught on camera in a Pennsylvania basement on December 15th, 2016. The YouTuber writes, "For the last few months there have been weird bangs and noises in our basement. Sounds like someone is walking up and down our steps. He goes on to say that his wife thought it was their cats at first, since their litter box is in the basement, but on the night in question, their cats were upstairs in their daughter's room, and their dog was in his cage in the kitchen, whining about the basement noise. He brought a camera to prove to his wife that the cats weren't making this noise, which had started out of nowhere a few months prior. "This thing I caught on camera, I am at a loss over," he writes. "Now I am terrified in this house." As he heads down the stairs to the basement, a shadow person peers around the corner, frightening the man.
I know I heard you. Holy, oh my, dude.
He runs down the stairs at it, trying to catch it on camera up close, but it disappears around the corner and isn't caught again. YouTuber Wyoming Oregon points out, if you pay attention to when he first turns the cam, around right before he cuts on the lights, it was standing there on the stairwell and ran down the stairs. Most confirm Wyoming's take, with many agreeing it was extremely creepy. Others say they've seen these shadow people in real life before. The uploader notes that they've decided to move after watching this video, as they don't want to raise their daughter in a haunted house. After seeing this, can you blame them? If you've ever had something in your home act out of character, then you might feel Alex Huff's pain. The TikToker appears to be doing an everyday makeup tutorial when her wardrobe starts to creak open.
I use the Milani 05 Soleil, so I'm going to try that on, and
then suddenly slams shut and bursts open again. The room's light above goes out, and then, as she's peering into the wardrobe, that light falls dim as well. Alex posted a second video showing that no one is inside or outside the wardrobe, and yet it's creaking again. In the third video, she's getting her room saged to get rid of whatever evil entity lies within. Burning sage is said to provide a spiritual cleansing for the home. Hopefully it did rid of the bad energy, and Alex can go back to doing her makeup tutorials in peace. Based on the events happening here though, I wouldn't be surprised if that house is legitimately haunted. In a frightening Twitter thread, Gregory88 shares a frankly freaky series of posts about an experience in the woods, including a video that has Twitter more than a bit concerned. Greg's thread begins on November 30th, 2018, where he claims to have seen something in the woods. He tweets, even though it might not be super safe to be out alone in the woods, it still feels better than being home all the time. He continues writing that he was walking in some woods that would be pretty if they didn't feel so creepy. Just when he was starting to feel at ease, he came across something strange in a clearing, but he only made it about 30 feet before he ran into something much creepier. He posts a picture of what he found. It appears to be an animal skull of some kind, mounted on a rock within a blackened triangle. Other smaller rocks are placed around the triangle, and on the skull in some sort of ritualistic looking design. Greg writes that he discovered something new in the wilderness every day, but he isn't nearer to comprehending what's going on. He said he felt dizzy as he headed away from the rock towards his home, but again he didn't make it far before he ran into yet another fright. A hooded woman dressed in black hovering at a distance on a hillside looking at nothing. Greg says she didn't see him as he hid behind a tree. Apparently he'd seen her before in these woods, but it had been weeks since his last sighting. After she left the hillside and drifted off into the forest, Greg darted home, fearing the whole while that she'd pop out and confront him. He asks the Twitter sphere if she's a witch. If not, what are these strange ritualistic displays? He also claims the video is proof that his imagination hadn't run wild. At this point, I just want answers, and I feel like I'm getting close to getting them, Greg writes. I'm just scared of what they might be. We're all pretty scared, Greg. We all are. This ghost doesn't want to be hunted. Published by Turkish channel HD Adam in November of 2021. The team is here to investigate the case of Jean Hoka. As they case the joint, they find dozens of nails strewn on the floor. Is there a meaning behind this? They're looking down another hallway and something hits at a curtain in the window. When the cameraman runs over to look out of it, you can see this window is on an upper floor and there's no one around.
Cam tıklatıyor şu anda. Abi!
In another room, they find a glass, again with nails inside. The team wants to know what this means and asks viewers to share. Do you have any ideas? It might be the next step in solving this mystery. Safari hunters kneel over the remains of a wild lion, each too busy posing to notice another member of the pride has been following them this whole time.
That's it. Ah, go, pump him. That's it.
Are you gonna work on this?
Oh, come on. Right, let me...
As they fiddle with the camera equipment, the silent surviving lion sizes them up without a sound. It waits until they are too close to run and then pounces. Their tour guide lays on his horn to warn them, but it's far too late.
Okay, good stuff.
I'm not sure if this video is real because the lion doesn't make a sound even after it's been spotted. If this is a real video, then it's more like their final moments rather than a close call. But this video was taken at a famous car race in France called the Citroën Rally. A police officer is keeping the peace when he makes the mistake of not looking both ways before crossing the road. His carelessness nearly gets him annihilated when one of the contestants comes rushing around the bend. The officer puts his arms out at the last second, but this would have done absolutely nothing to save him. That papery smacking sound you hear is the back of his vest actually making contact with the car. Amazingly, the police officer brushes off the event like it's no big deal, and the crowd barely has a reaction either. Maybe they've grown accustomed to close calls. Every culture has its own folklore, but the banana tree ghost of Asia is particularly creepy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, we've seen banana tree ghosts in the past, but this one is extra spooky. Alien Angel writes, "Ghost girl crying in a banana tree patch. It is unbelievable what happens towards the end. Traditionally, the ghost hides out in wild banana trees and is with a green complexion, full black hair, and bright red lips. She remains incognito there until full moon drives her out of the darkness, which is when she is made visible at night. Often she is seen standing without touching the ground. Her lower half is represented as not solid, but wispy, like an extension from the trunk of the tree itself. Apart from the tree's fruits being inedible, many don't grow this type of banana tree in their compounds or homes because of their haunted nature. This is also why if you cut a banana tree from the clump in Thailand, it's seen as a bad omen, while the witch is believed to be for the most part a good witch, even going so far as to offer food to Buddhist monks who pass her by. With this bit of background, take a look at this video. The Wailing Witch is clearly visible in this banana tree, her long black hair and light green shirt seen amongst the giant banana leaves. What isn't clear is why she's crying like this, or is that crying coming from the person viewing the witch? Is it a cry of fear? The viewer doesn't have to be afraid for long, as the witch soon vanishes, flashing up out of the tree and out of sight. While some in the comments say this is surely a witch, others aren't so sure. Redditor Pete318 shares his own personal view, writing, "There are some areas where spirit people congregate, and you can tell these areas by several things you feel when near them. Whether you believe in the haunting of nature or not, this video is proof that there are some things out there that will forever remain a mystery." Robin Adri is the name of a YouTube channel with an interesting Ouija board experiment at 3 a.m.
Is there any spirits out here that would like to contact us?
They try to get the ghost to spell its name, but the session gets off to a bad start after they complain about how slow the ghost is at spelling. This seems to aggravate the spirit, and it asks to speak with Rob's twin brother Steven by spelling its name over and over again. The spirit goes on to profess that it does not have good intentions for his brother Steve.
Do you want to hurt Steven?
After a while, the Ouija board stops spelling Steven long enough to spell out Zozo instead. They eventually end the session properly, and even get assured that they will be left alone in the future.
You said that you will not haunt us, right? Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
But it seems as though Zozo may have been luring them into a false sense of security. As they are leaving, they see a rattlesnake nearby, and it seems to be paying special attention to Steven. Rob and Adri are convinced that Zozo was sending them a warning sign in the form of a serpent, but I think this could also just be a coincidence. Let me know what you think. Two grown men are roaming the woods when they come across a creature that's making some very guttural warning noises. Suddenly, something wrapped in baggy robes lunges straight at them. As far as I can tell, only one of them makes it to the car, and then I don't think it ends well. No other information on this video is available. There's a YouTuber named Anonymous Web who's developed a scary habit, the need to buy scary things off of the deep web. His channel has only been around for a few months, and already he's gotten himself into more trouble than he was expecting, but more on that in a second. First, let's go over some of his most recent buys. On March 7th, 2020, a deep web package arrives after a 3-week wait. Anonymous Web had already given up hope that he would ever get it, and figured he had been ripped off. Seeing it in person fills him with unexplainable dread before he even opens it, because he had ordered it from a website about witchcraft and demonology. Inside is a colorful doll with a dark message. Pins are stuck in its feet, face, and forehead. A yellow page appears to be instructions to do some sort of ritual. Here are the steps. First, he sprinkles some kind of black ash around the doll in a circle. Tell me if this looks like someone's cremated remains. Next, he puts the candles on both sides of the doll. The lighter that came in the box doesn't work, so he gets up to find another one. And at 17 minutes and 35 seconds, something happens. The doll appears to move ever so slightly. If this was someone's remains, then maybe he transferred their life into the doll. Anonymous Web doesn't think much of it until he gets another potentially possessed dark web doll on May 16th, 2020. He buys the box from the same person, which doesn't make sense if he thinks the first one didn't work, but maybe he saw the part where it moved and bought one more. The doll has a male symbol on its forehead, to the right of which is a triangle, perhaps an all-seeing pyramid eye, with black spikes pushed through. Holes are drilled in the mouth to form a wicked smile. A burnt letter is soaked in something. It reads, "In night I seek, in dark I breathe, and if you say its name twice, the curse is said to end your life." Its name is Ken Ken. You're only supposed to say it twice, but Anonymous Web says it 3 times just to be sure.
Ken, 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 Ken.
A big mistake he later regrets. It looks like he uses one of the candles to set the doll's dress aflame. You can hear him pick up a candle and slam it down really fast. But look again, there's no candle where his free hand is. He even puts paper down where the candle would theoretically have to be. There are only 2 candles within reach, these 2, and he clearly doesn't touch either of them when the doll goes up in flames. The reason why I've shown you these 2 videos is to better explain the third. On June 2nd, 2020, exactly 13 days after releasing the curse of the previous doll, something began rummaging around his bedroom from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. It starts around his dresser. Then it moves to the far wall. After pulling on the doorknob with all its strength, it sounds exhausted afterwards and can't get free. After a long time, it returns to stomp across the room. And later that night, it gets out. So this would be terrifying if it was real, but I'm not sure if it's fake. I think he could have been standing behind the dresser and pushed the flowers over himself. Likewise, he could have reached around and opened the drawers himself. The footsteps and exhale would have been his own. He could have touched the bed himself off camera to make it squeak, but I don't know how he moved the picture. That's really strange. And then there's the very end when he comes back into the room and sees his room is messed up.
Yeah, f*** you.
Someone could have shut off the camera from the bottom, but at 2 minutes and 7 seconds you can see the entire doorway immediately after it happens, and no one is there. Going to medical school presents many challenges: high tuition, debt, and the occasional wild animal encounter. If you were coming up the steps and saw a Black Panther animal barreling at you, you would almost certainly run. Big mistake. It's already in motion and your panic would trigger its instincts. You're not getting far. The panther starts to go into someone's room, but something makes it think twice about going in. It probably doesn't like being cornered with one exit and chooses not to go further inside. The college in Karnataka, India went into lockdown as a result of this scary CCTV video. Yeah, I guess that would do it. I should point out that this isn't all that uncommon in schools across India, and I found some other creepy videos too. Here's a leopard at a college in Nainital. Thankfully, the only prey he finds is a car passing by, but imagine a college student looking at their feet walking along this fence. They'd never see it coming. I just hope everybody's alright. Paranormal explorers Mackie and Amanda are investigating 2 haunted South California estates in this scary video, the Kellogg House and the Mag House. Published in March of 2022, they are in the Kellogg House when something touches Amanda's arm.
Ooh, something just touched my arm. What? Something just touched my arm. Really? Super lightly, but I so felt it just go like super light.
A moment later, she says it feels like the whole house is shaking. Later, they're sitting in one of the rooms when they hear someone knocking. Mackie also mentions that she heard someone's voice earlier.
Yeah, I did. I thought I heard someone, and it was like, it sounded like a lady talking out there. Like, that's probably a worker, but I remember Eli said that he's the only one here.
While in the dining room, they hear a beeping noise. It is not coming from one of their paranormal devices. Not long after, they hear footsteps, and then those footsteps sound like they're running right at them.
Anyone's up? No, really, what is that? Is someone upstairs?
Later, they're in a child's bedroom when one of their paranormal devices picks up an EVP, and then a second one. They speak to the spirits using a spirit box, who tell them that they're present.
So? Yes.
Yes. What? Here. Mm-hmm. What room are you in?
Here.
Then, when they leave the room, the music box is triggered again. Is something following them around these haunted estates? What does it want from them?
This is the master bedroom right here. This is where they wanted us to come, so...
It's still going off. Something's following us in here.
Oh, you're right!
Something just, it was you, it went off, and then it was me, it went off, and then there was...
One door shuts, another opens. YouTuber Just Paranormal published this video in March of 2018. One of the dudes in the video says this paranormal footage was filmed in his home. This shot was directed at him in the darkness, and over his shoulder behind him, a door slowly swings closed on its own. They were renovating the bathroom, which is where the door closed. The man explains that the house was once owned by his mother-in-law, although they don't know whether or not anyone passed away in the home. His sister-in-law dabbled in witchcraft in high school, and as the boys note, you never know what you're getting yourself into with that stuff, and this may have contributed to the strange happenings occurring within the home. At the time, he's been documenting all the events occurring in his home, and when he heard footsteps, he started filming. This is why he was able to capture the door closing on video. He then runs over to the door, opening it to find no one there. There's no fishing line on the doorknob. To cover all the bases, he explores his home the next day to see if air vents could explain the door closing. Nothing natural seems to explain this event. Could it be supernatural? What do you think? Some videos have the power to keep us up all night long. As we're drifting off to sleep, they enter into our subconscious, making us sit bolt upright. The fear is real. The fright. This was posted to Reddit with the uploader writing, "My friend is security at the airport, and he saw this through the security cameras." The video shows an American Airlines desk with what appears to be a service door beside it. The airport looks empty. Perhaps the security footage was taken during closing hours. But if it's empty, what makes the door do this? The door swings open aggressively, with no one behind it. These types of doors are usually heavy and secure, and as Astral Cath explains in the comments, are often locked or require a manual code to open, so it's unclear how wind or something natural might have burst the door open like this. So what could it be? Theories in the comments range from a ghost running late for a flight to unequal air pressure. Redditor Steve Mage God points out that there's a slight shadow change before the door flings open, so as usually happens, we've got those who think this is paranormal activity on one side, and the skeptics who suggest this could be readily explained on the other. Which side are you on? A YouTuber named You Want Sun catches an eerie moment on live TV when this news anchor has a problem unlike any I've seen. She sounds normal the entire time, but she starts blinking excessively, followed by this.
Is reporting a record turnout at this point. Nevada and Nebraska are also showing that Democrats are getting a jump on early voting. In Washington, I'm Susan Roberts. Ron and Mary.
Pause.
Look.
I've seen videos where both eyes change into a creepy off color before, but I've never seen a video where one eye stays the same and one eye does whatever this is. Also, they cut away from her as soon as it happens, which makes Yuwat's son wonder what exactly happened here. I think it's possible, but I'm not sure, so I'd like to get your thoughts. Was this a glitch or something way worse? A paranormal video from Russia follows ghost hunter Sergei Sokolov on an urban exploration that creeps him out. The investigation eventually leads him to what appears to be a recently used altar. Crushed cans rest on 3 points of the evil-looking star, north, west, and southeast, probably where candles are going to soon be burned for a ritual of some kind, but it looks like a summoning ritual might have already been performed when this happens.
Подпишитесь на канал, поставьте под этим видео лайк, напишите комментарий.
They are wrapping up the paranormal video in typical YouTube style when something weird is caught on camera behind him. Some people say this is a possible paranormal entity, but if you pay attention, it looks like it could be a drawing on the wall. But even so, why is only the drawing lighting up? Alcatraz. A man is walking around the infamous Alcatraz when he picks up 2 possible paranormal encounters. I'll start with the weirdest one first. He is inspecting a roll of holding cells when a loud voice seems to call out to him with a single question. It sounds to me as if the deep voice is asking one simple word: why? The second possible encounter occurs as he is entering another part of the prison. Listen to this strange and haunting laugh. This one has a fairly reasonable explanation. Alcatraz is on an island, so maybe this was a bird call echoing off the prison's walls. I can't tell for sure, so let me know what you think about these 2 events. A camera pans across a white room filled with antique furniture and creepy collectibles, which is already bad enough, but when it stops at a tall old mirror, they seem surprised to find a childlike silhouette filling out the frame. As they are studying the child in their shaky gaze, A pair of identical orbs float above her head as two pinpoints of light become barely visible, almost like she is turning her head slightly. I guess this shadow child could simply be a large doll. However, even if this was the case, as far as I'm aware, only the eyes of the living can reflect light like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lifeless doll should never have glowing eyes. The person recording sees the eyes and tears up the steps in a hurry. They would later refer to the event only as the girl with sparkling eyes in the dark. A YouTuber named Johnny Paranormal decides to also go into the infamous Aokigahara forest. He boosts the sound of his microphone to capture every paranormal sound, and he is surprised at what he records. For example, tell me if you hear a demonic growl here. Or a quick coughing noise here despite Johnny Paranormal being all alone. Or a second person quietly whispering the word help.
How's this?
These creepy sounds continue to follow him throughout the entire video, which is roughly an hour and a half long. I think that's way more editing than most people would be willing to put into a fake video, so I think there's a strong possibility that this is real. What's especially concerning is this demonic noise that follows him wherever he goes.
It's saying my battery's going flat. Again.
If Johnny Paranormal really was surrounded by the supernatural, then I hope nothing followed him out of the forest. A group of British ghost hunters are walking around the Wilney graveyard in search of paranormal evidence. It's late at night when they apparently find exactly what they are looking for. Pay close attention to the area between the two tombstones or you might miss it.
What the was that?
The man's flashlight passes over a tall silhouette that makes him pause. It looks like it could have simply been some shadows playing against the wall, but they light up the entire area. And there's no wall to be found. Let me know if you saw the strange shadowy figure and what you think it could have been. Two girls are alone in their room when they decide to play Bloody Mary for fun. They look into their mirror and say Bloody Mary 3 times in a row with serious expressions. They wait for a bit before solemnly concluding that
nothing happened. Disappointing, right?
They are talking about trying it again during the night when something interrupts their thoughts.
That's weird.
They both look very serious, especially when they notice the cord to their overhead light bulb is now swinging on its own.
The light.
Almost as if someone had brushed past it. It's just the two of them and the door is locked. They quickly end the video, no doubt feeling very uncertain about what they've just done. Davo Velkrat explores an abandoned building on YouTube Live when his expression is interrupted by a distinctly human voice, or at least something doing their best impression of one. Eventually, Davo tracks the noise to a single room not far away. He waits for another minute, hesitant to go any further, and sees a face poke around the corner, but when he rushes in, the person is gone. A closer look at the room shows that there are no windows or doors that they could have escaped through from where they were positioned. There simply should be no way for them to disappear, and yet they are gone, leaving Davo Velkrat wondering what the heck is going on. It's after midnight and a YouTuber named Angie the Green-Eyed Angel is exploring a ghost town that is completely abandoned. She isn't even finished the introduction to her video before weird stuff starts happening. It took me a couple of listens, but I can actually hear the wind whispering her name here.
Abandoned ghost town. Hopefully you can see it behind me. I swear, I just heard my name.
Apparently the wind has other things to say as well. Strange noises continue to follow Angie as she sneaks through old buildings filled with spiderwebs and rotting architecture. After about 20 minutes of exploring, Angie stops and thinks she sees a grayish figure looking back at her.
Oh, I don't know if the camera can even see it.
Footsteps from behind send her screaming into the night. In 2009, a paranormal research group was tasked with investigating ghost sightings at a cemetery in Tampa Bay. They review weeks worth of footage and uncover some weird things caught on camera. They think this video is paranormal because an odd light goes behind a marker, placing this object, be it a ghost, an orb, or whatever you want to call it, somewhere behind the fence. Therefore, it's not a bug or a dust particle moving up close, though it could simply be edited. The ghost hunters claim to record the spot for 3 more weeks before any other paranormal evidence is caught on video. This time their camera picks up a shadow figure moving off screen, along with some kind of ethereal mist blanketing this area that does not look like normal fog. It happens at the same time a car drives by, so I'm hoping this shadow figure is just caused by passing headlights. Otherwise, this video might be as paranormal as they say. Gary Reed Unfrequented World is the name of a YouTube channel that, at first glance, seems chock full of ordinary outdoor vlogs and entertainment. Gary goes on photography and metal detecting excursions, and generally enjoys hiking his large property in the northern Ontario wilderness, often accompanied by his loving family. But something threatens the tranquility of Gary Reed's Unfrequented World, a screaming cryptid deep in the woods that can twist trees in its powerful grasp. But more on that in a second. First, let me talk about Gary and why his observations matter more than the average YouTuber. Born in the small Ontario town of Redbridge, Gary Reed has been surrounded by woods his whole life. Aside from a lifetime of first-hand experience exploring the local lands, he also has a degree in environmental science and understands his surroundings on an advanced biological level. So when he says there is something out there that he can't explain, it probably means you or I can't either. His first encounter with it was at the age of 18, while staying in a cabin on Rabbit Lake, October 19th, 1994. That's when he heard a scream that sounded like a woman, but not quite. He describes the second scream as a wail, crescendoing into a howl, like nothing he's heard before. It ran through the entire camp, screaming from one side to the other, then it was gone. On April 30th, 2020, he heard it again.
That sucks. Can you hear screaming?
It sounds almost human, but not quite.
Gosh, this thing is still going on over here.
Here it is again with the audio turned up. I know foxes can make some weird noises, but this sounds like a person enraged. Camera in hand, he sneaks quietly towards the direction of the screaming to see what he can find. His trained eye detects a strange break in this tree, along with other trees that have been toppled over, all of them facing the same direction, like someone was running fast through the forest.
There's one there.
And next to the strange scene is a braided bunch that looks like something strong twisted it into this shape. Let me know if there is any other way for these branches to fuse together, if not by sheer force. The deeper he goes, the more it looks like something large has stomped through. Oddest of all are these large tracks left by what he suspects is a cryptid that walks upright.
Not mine.
It's clear to me that these are not your average boots.
Like toe prints in here. You can almost see the toes.
At 10 minutes and 25 seconds, he tries to trace an outline of its toes, but I think he's a little off. Here's where they begin in my opinion, much bigger. The next day he measured the results, and it reminds me of a certain cryptid with particularly big feet. I'm sure you know who I mean.
13 1/4 inches.
I think it's real, but just to throw out a counterpoint, I will say that rain from the day before could have eroded the snow and could have made an otherwise normal footstep seem much larger. Now let's switch over to some trail cams set up by Gary. This evidence, taken exactly a month earlier on March 3rd, is the most compelling of all. On March 7th, 4 days later, he and his neighbor hear another scream so shrill it sounds like it belongs to a child. He hurries out the door and finds himself alone and vulnerable in the pitch black night.
I gotta turn the dish back on. I can hear whistling.
A pair of animal eyes look at him from behind, but I think it might just be the light reflecting off his glasses back into the camera. But I could be wrong, because when they check around the same area the next day, his dog becomes agitated and seems not to want to proceed any further. Something is definitely up ahead. Maybe they are getting close on its trail. Not that its trail is especially hard to find when it leaves a path of giant bent trees in its wake. Could nature have done this? Probably not. It looks like something huge reached up and pulled it down.
That's a pretty big one.
And half a minute later, he finds this tree with a branch literally twisted off and set back in place. This doesn't look like a normal break to me, because the tree looks rather healthy.
Yeah, it's about 8 feet. And it's got a good twist to it.
Here's another perfectly healthy tree with green leaves, this time ripped in half by something strong, or maybe simply struck by lightning. Either way, that doesn't explain what animal is responsible for doing this.
You can see the bark, and you can actually see lines. Well, those are tooth marks. See all those little lines are tooth marks.
I don't know what it is, but I know that anything that shreds trees while screaming is too dangerous for me to be in the same forest as. And that's only what's been going on for the past couple months. There's over a year's worth of cryptid content to uncover, so I encourage you to watch Gary read Unfrequented World and see for yourself. In the meantime, leave me your best guess as to what's doing this. Maybe we can crack one of the weirdest modern unsolved mysteries in all of Ontario. There's a YouTube channel called Happy Life that ironically explores some of the most miserably haunted places in all of Pakistan. Happy Life began as a spiritual advice channel, and now they hope to better understand the darker side of spirituality through paranormal investigations like this one. This time, the Happy Life crew intends to check out a haunted school where numerous students were said to have lost their lives. Early on, they encounter a poltergeist who is intent on chasing them away. The first encounter sounds like it's throwing plates, but then it graduates to a heavy bottle that could have really done them harm. Doors also repeatedly close as if something really doesn't want them to go any further. But the more I look at it, the more I think the cameraman is responsible for all of this rather than a ghost. The objects always just so happen to be thrown from the cameraman's direction, a strange coincidence, and the camera person always seems to be within arm's reach whenever the doors close, so I think he is either kicking it or else pushing it shut with his free hand. But when they get to the very top of the school, they find this mysterious red streak of dried up liquid overlooking the balcony. So even though parts of this video may have possibly been embellished, perhaps a student really did lose their life here after all. The situation only gets weirder when they come across a star in the hall that could have been used as a ritual or simply drawn by them to make the video scarier. I think it could be real though, because look what happens soon after one of them kneels in the middle. The way it echoes down the hall sounds forcefully loud and possibly real. One of them explores a room, while the other records from outside the window. No one else is nearby, so then tell me who is responsible for what happens next. They decide the inside is too dangerous to go any further and stick to the outer perimeter. Eventually, they come across a shallow well that gives off a residual negative energy that could be left over from a terrible and tragic event. Something compels them to climb inside, and sure enough, the dirt has been freshly disturbed. An orb passes left to right over the small grave as he plucks this fragment of human and holds it to the camera. A ghost hunting channel called American Phantom Hunters have been exploring haunted places for decades, and this paranormal investigation is one of their creepiest videos yet. The Palmer House in Minnesota is a haunted hotel that was rebuilt after a terrifying fire took many lives. Some people never checked out and still roam the hallways as a ghost. Mysterious sightings of paranormal activity are said to terrify any ghost hunters who dare to investigate the haunted hotel. There always seems to be a ghost slamming doors and moving objects, whispering voices in dark hallways, and even a little ghost girl who bounces a ball down the stairs late at night. American Phantom Hunters begin their paranormal investigation by carefully setting up ghost hunting equipment at one of the most haunted places in the whole hotel, the stairs, where a little ghost girl likes to push a ball down late at night. Within minutes, their carefully calibrated paranormal equipment is detecting electromagnetic activity from a nearby ghost, perhaps the little girl herself.
Can you come back up? 296. I got it on film. Can you come to these steps? Can you stand on these stairs? 188. Next to it.
Two pieces of paranormal equipment independently verify the presence of a ghost. The large blue screen displays a black bar that represents movement, in this case a ghost girl running up the steps. Their paranormal investigation yields results as their questions are answered quickly and in time.
Can you touch that device again? 40, 30. Something just went by on that meter too.
Jeez. And this digital thermometer detects a drop of 3 degrees from 75 degrees to 72 degrees, paranormal evidence of a chilling effect as a ghost passes by. At this point, the supernatural energy is so prevalent that one of the ghost hunters has their phone mess up and display the wrong year entirely. She is unable to access any of the paranormal evidence on her phone. While standing at these stairs, they set up a spirit box to capture any scary ghost EVPs on tape, and that's when the strange knocking noises begin.
Can you touch that yellow device on the stairs for me real quick? Thank you.
Hello? Accompanied by the scary whispering voices of a little ghost girl.
Whoa, whoa.
At times, the EVP sounds like they are coming from the spirit box, but at 6 minutes and 25 seconds, the scary voice whispers maybe right into the camera from behind.
Hey. Can you come down the stairs?
They try to talk to the little ghost girl some more and manage to capture these spooky EVPs on tape.
How are you? Do you care if I go upstairs? Wait. Okay. I think I'll wait.
After gathering enough evidence, they decide to leave the haunted hotel, and so they say their paranormal goodbyes, but as they are leaving, they hear a voice whisper something scary in the darkness. They hear the word castle, but I hear cast down. What do you think this scary voice is whispering? Either way, the fact that they hear the EVP outside of the house is a terrifying sign because it means something could have attached itself to them. So something tells me they aren't exactly safe. Holly's Lore is a paranormal investigation channel that explores creepy abandoned places to see if local legends are real or fake. In one ghost hunting episode, she explores a haunted forest in the swamps of Maryland in search of a headless apparition named Big Liz. The haunted bridge is said to be where all of the ghost sightings of Big Liz have occurred. There's a certain ritual to summon her that I'll get into in just a second, but first they explore the bridge and hear some creepy noises that could be ghost moans. Tell me if this sounds paranormal to you.
What is that?
Did you hear it again?
That sounds like something dying.
Okay, so now the time has come to summon Big Liz. To do so, they must flash their lights 3 times and honk twice. Watch this area closely or you'll miss it.
Flash them 3 times, honk twice, right?
Yep. Done.
What was that?
What are you talking about? Wait, what?
At 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 17 seconds, a shadowy mist passes over the bridge. There is no fog and nothing obstructing the headlights. They all see it except for one investigator whose view was obstructing because they were sitting in the car to flash the lights. And when Holly investigates the nearby woods with a high-power flashlight, the ghostly figure is caught on camera.
I thought it was closer. It was closer, but now I'm hearing it way over there.
So as far as I'm concerned, this paranormal investigation shows that the legend is real. Beware of the shadows when at Donovan Mill, the historic mining site in Silver City, Nevada, has a reputation, and it's not a good one. At least one documented incident of someone taking their own life has been recorded there. Perhaps it's the spirit from this unfortunate history that lingers in the mill. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Facts by James TV writes, at 24 minutes 30 seconds you could see a shadow-like figure down the hallway. At the very same space it is known to be haunted by a spirit named John that is very protective about that area. At the timestamp in question, you can see what James is talking about. He said he felt a presence, so they stopped and shined the flashlight down at the end of the hall. A small shadow figure appears there. Casting light down that way doesn't make it disappear. What do you think about this creepy catch? Would you have the guts to venture down the hall to investigate? A YouTuber named Jude the Cool Dude is making a video tour of his house when he discovers something new on the 3rd floor.
Wait. Wait, is that a door?
Concealed behind a hidden wall panel is a cramped room with extremely small furniture, including a tiny table with a single candle for light. Terror spreads across Jude as it dawns upon him that he could very well be standing in the hiding spot of an intruder who has been living here for some time. It even looks like whoever inhabited this place may have rerouted the wiring to divert power to this part of the house. It's almost impossible to tell if this video was staged or legitimate, but with all of the stories I've read about people living in houses for years without being discovered, I really wouldn't be surprised if this was real. Either way, Jude decides to quietly close the trapdoor and never mention this find again. A YouTuber named Lawrence Ryan takes off his shirt and throws it over a shelf. A while later, he returns to the area and now finds the discarded piece of laundry has somehow shifted into a face. This shift continues before his very eyes until Lawrence grabs a camera to document the paranormal event. The shirt takes the appearance of a grinning demonic face who is looking down into the left. If you don't see it yet, you soon will. The transformation is not yet fully complete. The camera goes out of focus very briefly as Lawrence struggles to zoom in while walking closer. And when the camera corrects itself and comes back into play, the face is changed again. Pause at 1 minute and 47 seconds into the video, and you will see it now has a very deep ceased brow, a sharp angular nose, and a strange expression that looks like a cross between a frown and a smirk. I really don't see how any of this is possible, but then again, if it's fake, then I don't know how they did it either. The shirt is hanging from a shelf and should not hold any form at all. If they tried to somehow fold it into the shape of a face, I don't think it would stay like that for long. A creeping patch of darkness spreads without a sound over an unknown location, possibly someplace near the beaches of Malaysia, and then an underwater creature is caught on camera, doing some scary things that no one can explain. The giant underwater creature appears to be on the verge of breaking the surface at 23 seconds. There's a wave of displaced water that has everyone in the comments further vexed and perplexed. Some say this shimmering effect is a school of fish evading a predator. I would agree with this, except not a single one jumps out of the water. The most eerie supernatural explanation offered is a Malaysian phenomenon called Salor Bidar, a name for underwater paranormal activity in which someone is instantly pulled to the bottom of the river by a spirit without warning. Apparently it looks a lot like this, which I find scary to think about. The bizarre moment passes, but they don't stop filming until more unexplained activity is caught on video. The mysterious shape bubbles to the surface once more at 58 seconds, and here at 1 minute and 3 seconds, I think it briefly breaks through. It could be the back of a whale or something, but it kind of looks like some kind of liquid on top of the water, like an oil spill. The person who actually caught this bizarre sighting says it's a video of a mysterious sea creature, but never does he provide additional backstory. This unexplained video has been stumping the internet since it was first uploaded on June 8th, 2018. No update has been provided, and I could find no other similar scary situations caught on tape. Let's put our heads together and figure out once and for all what this unsolved mystery really was. A YouTuber named the Ghost Metalhead 666 is filming an empty room in the castle of King Henry VIII when suddenly a visitor materializes before his very eyes. Look in the bottom left corner to see it. The YouTuber captures the translucent outline of a small child. You can see how the toddler starts out on the floor and unsteadily climbs to its feet. The head, arms, and legs are unmistakably human-like. If someone is any good with video editing, then let me know if this is fake or the real thing. Otherwise, as more than one person pointed out in the comments section, Henry VIII did have many stillborns during his reign as king, and this perhaps could be one of them. This thermal camera captured a baby's cry, living people, and not so living people. First, the baby is heard. Next, a not so living person is seen on camera. And again here. Apparently this is the background without the thermal camera on. And then lastly, a female EVP is heard. What does she know? My guess, I think she knows who the not-so-living person is lurking around the room. Nadeem Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज़ या कोई जिनों का साया नज़र आता है कि नहीं। हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो ओह नाजरीन ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नज़र आया है, तो ये आवाज़ें कैसी आ रही हैं। आए नाजरीन हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते।
Two ghost sightings are enough for Nadeem. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghosts into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज़ है, इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं। ये इस तरफ से नजर आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश कर।
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadeem would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. A Reddit user named Ponzi Flauns hears something outside of his home that leaves him too afraid to move. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear a creepy woman's voice carrying a twisted tune. The haunting melody repeats over and over again, growing louder each time. There's no way that this is an animal. One person commented that this sounds like it could be an opera, and I can't say that they're wrong. Listen again.
Like, what is that?
Then you hear what sounds to me like a cry for help, and the singing never returns. If I lived in that house, I would be immediately locking all the doors and windows. A YouTuber named Nicholas Asher is recording his 2 children when they nearly get more than just a little rain.
Whoa! Get inside! Get inside! Holy sh! Okay.
The lightning bolt hurtles down towards the kids and lands over in the next yard. From the sound of it, they quickly scatter to safety into the garage. A door closing by itself is another classic sign of a ghost haunting the place, and it doesn't always have to be a ghost slamming the door. A gentle closing is oftentimes twice as scary.
If you're out there, please shut this door one more time. That's all I'm asking. Just me. Oh my. Okay, I'm getting seriously freaked out right now.
The person who captured the paranormal activity says they were home alone when the door shut by itself a few times.
I don't believe that just happened. I didn't think I'd get anything. Well, I'm definitely going to be filming this area more.
He says a ghost slammed it shut in the past, but this time it shut it gently. Afterwards, he investigates the door to show us there's nobody standing on the other side because there's no room. It's apparently a haunted staircase, presumably leading to the attic. He says there are no open windows behind him, which was my guess. At 1 minute, you can see no string around the interior knob, which was my other guess. Freaky, right? There's nothing more disturbing than the sound of an unexpected and unknown siren. What could possibly be impending? A tornado tearing through the town? What are we being warned about? Posted by Epic Memer Boy 0123 to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The uploader writes that he started to hear sirens randomly midday. In the clip, the sirens sound quite high-pitched, almost like a car horn beeping long and restlessly. Several in the comments suggest it's a test siren of some kind, either for tornado warnings or other emergencies. The Redditor clarifies that it lasted for around 10 to 15 minutes. Superman Connor writes, that definitely sounds too long to be a tornado siren then. When the Redditor mentions that a friend said it was an air raid siren, Superman responds those only last about 30 seconds. It seems the Redditor isn't the only one suffering from unknown siren syndrome. The Wastelander 96 writes, something similar happened near here a couple nights ago when the sirens just went off for like 10 to 15 minutes and then just stopped. Perhaps it is an emergency siren that they are testing, but for a different kind of emergency. Wonder what that could be. There are some things that make you so nervous you can never unsee them. They remain on the backs of your eyelids when you go to sleep at night. This entry will make you stay out of the forest. Redditor Film Direction wrote, aw man, Chills is gonna be all over this in his next video. And he's right, I am. Posted by Rabbit14k, this video of a so-called forest guard was captured in India. The clip shows a vehicle driving at night down a dirt road surrounded by forest. It must be drizzling, as the windshield wipers are moving. Then up ahead in the middle of the road is a figure in white flowing robes. The figure's head is covered, and when we never see its face, as the vehicle backs up, the figure walks slowly and strangely off the path and into the trees. As the vehicle continues to reverse, it disappears, swallowed by the darkness. According to Redditor Vixen Ross, this might be a holy man or woman, as the Sri Sararda Devi wears similar robes to these worn by our forest guard. Others note that it's a bit on the dark side for a midnight stroll, even for a holy man. Did this video make the hair on your legs stand up? Did it give you chills? Did it make your nose start running? And what do you think? Is this human or demon? A fire erupted at St. Anthony's School in Octonal Falls, Wisconsin on February 21st, 2012, damaging the interior beyond recognition. At the time, the school had 42 students. Portions of the exterior of the 55-year-old school were visibly damaged, while a layer of soot and ash coated the attached St. Anthony Church. Father Joel Sember said that the parish was taking the fire very personally. In his words, "This is part of their family, it's part of their community, and so they are taking this as if it happened to their home." While the fire was certainly devastating, the school was empty at the time, so at least no one was harmed. Father Sember noted that the fire could have been far more destructive had the fire department not been so efficient. The fire is believed to have been intentional, although it's unclear if they ever found the culprit. Imagine you were walking past an abandoned factory when you saw this. Edge Ninja published this terrifying video in March of 2017, although it was recorded all the way back in 2013. Edge Ninja explains, "The factory, as it was dubbed, had been an eerie fixture in our neighborhood since before my family even moved in. In 30 years, I never saw a single person or vehicle go in or out." The YouTuber walks around the building to confirm that the lights are flashing in multiple wings. Even creepier as Edge Ninja zooms in on a light in a stairwell near the end of the video. YouTuber Oreo the Wolf Fox points out a ghoulish image in the left window, what appears to be a face. Cue the shivers. This building is no longer abandoned. It was renovated and is now used as a factory for a watch company. One wonders if the new factory workers have crossed paths with this creepy figure in the window. This footage was apparently found inside the Penhurst Asylum, which is a real abandoned place located in Pennsylvania. The footage contains 2 students exploring the clearly abandoned building, and while nothing too bizarre happens in this footage, the backstory and timing are enough to make you scream. The 2 student explorers were never seen again after this. Well, that is terrifying enough. I want you to focus on the timestamp in the corner. Notice how they are ending up in new spots in the asylum at a faster and faster rate. Near the end of the video, the pair end up in the forest at a rate where the speed they are traveling is simply inhuman. What do you think is happening here? If this footage is real, then it is a case where the happenings would never be believed, if not for it being recorded. A vision seen by many is sometimes diagnosed as mass hysteria, but when it's caught on video, you cannot deny its existence. This video was published in February of 2012. The clip shows a group of people staring at the sun over the trees. At first, the camera appears to be just capturing the blazing sunlight, but as it focuses in, you can clearly see the shape of a woman within that blinding light. The clip, which has gone viral, was filmed in the Ivory Coast. The day prior to this apparition, locals had seen something which appeared to be a blue halo in the sky, a case that many thought was extraterrestrial. But when the apparition appeared using infrared technology, locals instead believed they were witnessing a miracle. Government officials tried to minimize the sighting, saying it was nothing, but some locals believe the apparition may simply be Mary casting her mercy and benevolence over the impoverished region. Whether you call this vision a miracle or not, coupled with the halo that is said to have appeared during the preceding days, these startling forms in the clouds are unexplainable. When there's something angry in your home, it will make its presence known. Published to YouTube by Lainey and Ben in June of 2021, this short scary clip shows their haunted house in action yet again. Lainey is making breakfast and walks over to set the dishes on the table, but the moment she turns her back to the cupboard, it swings wide open and a bottle of ketchup is expelled from it. Lainey catches a glimpse of the paranormal activity, and although she still appears a bit shocked, it's clear she's seen this sort of stuff before. She simply calls out for Ben and then calmly leaves the kitchen.
Ben?
Is the spirit just reminding Lainey not to forget the ketchup, or is this a forewarning? Because a red liquid condiment seems a bit too on the nose. Tell us your theory. What is this poltergeist after? Grandma, is that you? Published to YouTube by Mordecai's Captured Moments in April of 2021. Mordecai writes, "One night years ago, the chair on my friend's porch was rocking on its own. The video shows an old wooden rocking chair standing outside a pair of wooden framed glass doors. The chair begins rocking in an unusual fashion, not like it's been disturbed by a breeze or knocked by something, but as though someone is sitting in it, rocking and halting according to whim. Apparently this isn't the only scary incident that occurred in Mordecai's friend's house. She responds to a YouTuber that her house was so deeply scary that she never let anyone know how scared she really was. Thankfully, she moved 2,000 miles away from this haunted place. All she can hope for is whoever is rocking that chair didn't follow." We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry, but what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus. But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. This TikToker has a haunted kitchen with two moving utensils. First, this spoon handle moves towards him, and there's no string visible against the dark wooden cabinets when it happens. All he can do is laugh in amazement as the spoon moves towards him. The handle even hovering in midair for a bit again with no strings attached.
Ghosts are funny until they start coming to your house. Show you guys that I have a freaking poltergeist.
I'm almost positive this video can't be real, but at the same time, I don't see how it's being faked. Give me your best guess as to how he made both of these utensils move without any string. A TikToker named Anna Face captures this extra eerie spider creeping around her garage that's almost as wide as the glass jar she uses to catch it. Only when she traps it and takes a closer look, does she notice dozens, if not hundreds of baby spiders crawling all over this poor host, even around its mouth and eyes. I don't know if this brood is harmlessly hitching a free ride, or if they're devouring their mother alive for nourishment, and I really don't know if I want to find out, but I guess you can tell me what's going on if you really want to. Anyway, Anna Face has mercy on the spider, and lets it out into the wild to possibly live another day. It doesn't seem to have a problem running away, so I think this was a mother spider trying to find a good place to release her young, which somehow doesn't make it any less horrifying. If you encountered ghost footprints at your workplace, would you be able to continue working there as though nothing happened? Published to YouTube by Korean channel Saiwon Yoon in April of 2020, the uploader writes, "The footprints of ghosts caught by the CCTV in the recording studio. The surveillance footage shows a recording studio at night. After capturing an odd glitch on camera in a certain area of the studio, which the uploader notes look like footprints, the crew sets up some paranormal sensors to see whether or not any spirit activity exists in the room. As you can see, the sensors are blowing up. They indicate something is moving in the darkness. Imagine sensing a paranormal presence in the studio, something you cannot see with the human eye, and then having that presence confirmed via these sensors. The idea certainly disturbs some sound technicians. YouTuber heightened wrote in the comments, I was also surprised when I watched the video. I can't broadcast alone. I can't go to the studio at night. Would you be able to after seeing this? Because this footage appears real to me. What do you see here? Posted to the paranormal video subreddit, Redditor Upstairs Bicycle 1721 wants some sort of explanation for this mysterious clip. Let's take a look. The mysterious vertical rods hover side by side in front of the camera for a moment before one of them takes off and disappears out of sight. The second figure slowly drifts right until it's out of frame. Nearly everyone in the comments is perplexed by this video. Although I don't think this is a spider web either. I don't have any rational ideas as to what they could be. Do you have an explanation? We've all heard of the Headless Horseman, but have you heard of the Headless Errand Boy? Published to YouTube in February of 2020, this clip will have you doing a double take. The clip shows what appears to be a man without a head in Asia carrying a shopping bag as if just running some errands. He walks out into traffic and slides between two cars to cross the street. No one around seems to notice the oddity. The fact that he's without a head phases no one. The car he cuts in front of even beeps loudly, just hurrying him to get out of their way. So are our eyes deceiving us? Or is this just some fancy edit? This one has me scratching my head. This scary Reddit video was posted by a user named Naval Court, who says he caught a spirit giving his friend's child a hard time while it's trying to rest. First, the child stands up as if he sees somebody enter, or maybe he's even called over. He slowly looks up at something much taller than him, and as soon as he lays his eyes upon it, he falls with force. He sits off and shakes it off, and then something flies by overhead. He even looks over his shoulder and sees it. Some people think the kid is just acting silly, as children tend to do, and maybe even shaking his head to try and stay awake. But I agree with Naval Court that this is weird and could be a ghost like he thought. A YouTuber named R. Travis is exploring a haunted restaurant that used to serve Chinese food. The inside is extremely old and the walls have rotted down to bare support beams. He feels watched and grows increasingly anxious and begins to talk loud and fast to himself in an effort to keep calm. Sometime during his nervous ranting, he makes a comment out loud about a spirit he sees standing at the top of the stairs.
I don't give two flat. Oh, there's a set of stairs here. Let's roll. They might not be stable. I just seen a figure up there, but I'm not answering. I'm going chasing him.
Nothing really stands on camera. Could this purple triangular shape be whatever it was he was talking about? At first, he says he's going to leave it alone, but up the steps he finds nothing but an old musty attic with a worn out floor, but there's more than that up here.
I just seen another figure then. 3 black spirits have seen them pass me now.
Aside from this white light that passes by at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, I do see some shadow figures. And a final shadow figure with white eyes can be seen here at 3 minutes and 22 seconds. They're all about the same height, scattered around different parts of the room, and with all of them still watching, R. Travis abruptly ends the video. Kevin Ramos is holding a paranormal investigation session at the Fort Delaware, which was in use from the mid-1800s to the mid-1900s, and is said to be ripe with spiritual activity even after being decommissioned well over 50 years ago. After a day of walking, they stop and ask a few questions to the spirits upon nightfall. Look what happens when they try to get to know more about the ghost of a person stationed here.
Did you like him? Can you cross the rod if you liked him?
First, a white apparition passes by, followed by a black shadow that one of them actually catches out of the corner of their eye. This isn't their reflection in the window, because none of them are walking, and in this exact moment, this person thinks they feel a tap on their shoulder and shine a light behind them to make sure. It definitely looks like something was near them to say the very least. Why she didn't say something as soon as it happened is something I don't know. I guess they were too scared at the time.
Watch how this ghost is working out. It's moving by itself, just like somebody's sitting there.
This outdoor workout station is moving all by itself, or so it seems. I think someone could be moving it with wires off camera. At the beginning he shows this zoomed in shot, but it's vertical so there is plenty we can't see. I'm not saying this video isn't real, I'm just saying I would be more convinced if he showed the entire street to prove that no one else was around. A YouTube channel called 3/Amir AMR searches for what his video title roughly translates into English as the most dangerous magician. Though its glowing eyes make it look less human and more like a jinn, the Arabic word for demons and spirits. The way the eyes come into focus at 1 minute and 4 seconds looks pretty good, but I think it might be special effects because the overall resolution seems to briefly drop. White and red eyes look at him from outside of a window, and there's a really good look at them here at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But these eyes look like they could be any of the city lights shown here when he goes outside. He does see the djinn standing outside of a window, eyes glowing white as ever. It disappears, then he sees either the same creature or possibly another one in the building directly behind him. Now feeling surrounded, he turns and flees this entire area, but not before catching glowing eyes looking at him from the window within. Seeing something other than wild animals and nature in the forest is always creepy, so what if you saw this? James Jones published a creepy figure that he'd caught on video in the forest in June of 2012. He explained that he was currently making a homemade indie horror flick for which he wrote his own script. After setting up a prop ritual circle in the middle of the forest, based off of research for his film, he ran some rehearsals and then headed home. He returned the next afternoon to film more. That's when he spotted this figure. In his own words, I don't have any explanation on what it is. The reason why this is so weird is because this figure is exactly where I had created the ritual circle last night. When he returned with his camera that evening, the figure had disappeared. From afar, it appears like a hooded demon wearing a black robe. It's unmoving. While many in the comments believe it's just a tree or a stump, others wonder if the uploader was reaping the consequences of setting up a ritual circle in the forest. What do you think it is? While unknown sewer creatures are certainly scary, here's one real-life known creature you certainly wouldn't want to run into while peering into the sewage drain behind your home. Lou Cam published this skin-crawlingly creepy video in December of 2016. He seems to be lying right on the road in front of his home, where he tells his audience that he thinks he has an alligator in his sewer. It's pretty clear that he's telling the truth. As soon as the camera is angled into the darkness, sure enough, a shot into the depths below spies a pair of alligator eyes, and the undeniable view of the scaly monster just lurking there, a bright green toy ball inches in front of its chompers. This is no laughing matter. Although I doubt you were laughing at the sight of that frightening creature in the first place. To put this in perspective, an average adult American alligator is 13 feet long and 790 pounds. While they are generally timid around humans, they will attack and have been known to take people's lives. Just recently, a Florida woman disappeared while out walking her dogs, and her arm was found in the stomach of a massive 12-foot alligator who called a nearby swamp home. Alligators attack large prey by clamping down on it and dragging it into the water to drown it. Doesn't sound like a pleasant way to pass away. I'd advise Lou to get off the road and away from this sewer before it's too late. Redditor Comfortable Cry 8097 heard a noise while in bed. When she checked out her Ring camera the next morning, this is what she saw. First, a noise is heard. Now watch the back center near the banister. What is that? To most in the comments, it looks like a full-bodied ghost, and it sounds like it's causing even more mayhem in the home. According to the Redditor, the figure was heading toward her bedroom, but the door remained shut. Well, most agree that it's a ghost, and I concur. Some suggest this could be a compressed artifact or some other camera glitch, but what of the noise? That one is not so easily explained. The last place you want to hear screaming is in a cemetery, in the darkness of night. That's what YouTuber Thrills heard when he was visiting Fox Island Cemetery, which is said to be haunted by a man in black. As they first enter the cemetery, they hear an unexplained hissing noise.
I will say the other camera is a lot easier to hold.
What the heck is that?
It's not, yeah, not, I hear that too.
And soon the screaming starts.
Did you hear it again?
Yeah, I just heard it.
After moving along, they hear the screaming a second time.
What is this way too?
I definitely just heard something, yeah.
And then a third directly after.
I definitely just heard something, yeah.
Well, this might be a wild animal or someone just hollering for the fun of it. It could also be the legendary Man in Black. I think he might just be toying with them. These friends are hanging out at the end of a cul-de-sac when one of them, named Robert, loses his skateboard down a deep sewer grate. Most skaters would probably call it quits then and there, but Robert forces his way through the grate and soon becomes just as stuck as his board. They all laugh and make jokes as they wait for rescue workers to arrive, but as you can see by this nervous nail biting, the situation is much more serious than anyone is letting on. Firefighters are unable to pry open a nearby manhole cover. Thinking fast, they send a line down for Robert to grab and eventually fish him out that way. After the whole ordeal is over, one of the men explains that Robert is lucky to still be alive.
You know what's down there?
Not really, probably a lot of diseases.
Yeah, well, not only that, but there could be like chemicals that could kill you like that, dude. It's a sewer. You know what I'm saying?
This calm and professional explanation will hopefully make Robert think twice if this ever happens again. Todd T captures a large humanoid-looking figure going down his neighbor's chimney. He's too far away to pick up any discernible details, but the creature looks to be far too large to be a bird or pretty much any other animal. Whatever this is, it looks to be the size of a human. The mysterious creature stuffs itself down the chimney in less than a minute, at which point I'm guessing it roams around the interior of the home for whatever it can find. What happened to Todd's neighbor is anyone's guess. A mysterious creature sighted in the woods of Makanda, Illinois, has residents wondering if this video is real or fake. It looks fairly convincing upon first glance, but some parts are questionable, like how this looks more like a boot than a foot when it steps out at 22 seconds. At 23 seconds, it raises its back leg up high like a person would. I think if its legs were really that big, then its footsteps would be much heavier and closer to the ground, but maybe I'm wrong. A YouTuber named Rifat claims that going to this haunted place in Palestine proved to be a psychological undoing. Let's see what was so scary in this paranormal exploration gone wrong. He seems to have trouble keeping his balance and stumbles backwards twice for no reason.
يا شباب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا شباب قلت أجرب الله يقطع شر يوم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
At this point, I think he realizes there's no way he should be falling 3 times in 5 minutes and thinks a ghost could be near, as he is trying to decide if this is really happening or just his imagination. Some of the best paranormal EVP evidence ever recorded is caught on camera.
هذه قصة وأنا والله العظيم خايف يعني ممنوع في الليل عن جد ممنوع يعني نطلع هيك كمان إيه إيش هاد؟
Loud and scary screaming noises are coming from the woods. The screams of a human, most certainly not an animal.
يعني من وين أطلع؟
He doesn't investigate the noise because this could be a spirit setting up a trap that he is too smart to fall for. I'm glad he didn't go any further. If he had gone any deeper into the forest to see what it was, then this scary video might not ever have been uploaded. I have a feeling that he narrowly avoided getting ambushed by some group of bandits or even something paranormal. A YouTube channel called Salam Ya 3 Alam is demonstrating a high-flying hobby known as pyroacrobatics when some creepy paranormal activity is caught on camera. Caught in the light of his flaming barrel is a mysterious hooded ghostly figure that hovers against the wall of an abandoned house for a few brief scary moments and then disappears. The video looks pretty real to most because the ghost appears to be the same resolution as everything else and its color does not sharply contrast with the video. This video, however creepy, has one thing that looks wrong. Notice how the video fades to black at 11 seconds. This part makes me wonder if this ghost sighting is actually real. Douglas Daniel has caught 2 scary moments on camera. One is pretty obvious while the other is for the most observant eye, so don't blink.
Here goes home!
A rock slide bangs a barrier open before this guy even has a chance to take their hands out of his pockets to protect himself. And if that was one of the smaller rocks, think about what any of the larger ones would have done to him. He isn't the only lucky person in this video. A rock climber is right next to the action when the rocks let loose. I wonder if something they did caused this to happen. If so, I can only imagine how bad they would have felt if somebody got hurt because of their mistake. With a pair of tweezers in one hand and a bucket in the other, Rory Shumack approaches Lacey, a pet monitor lizard with a tick that needs to be carefully removed. The sun is in his eyes, and he's too busy looking for the tick to pay attention to the other end. I'm sure you saw Lacey's jaws, but it also tried to whip him in the face with its tail. After watching this failed attempt, I would probably have a professional vet perform a tick removal, but tell me if you can think of a better way. These paranormal investigating YouTubers traveled to a movie theater in Sagan, Texas, to take their chances with the ghost of a girl who repeatedly scratches the staff at random. It isn't long before they hear not footsteps, but rather a single footstep, which is somehow even more unnatural and unnerving. Listen and watch. No one else is around.
I'm come here to communicate with whoever lives here.
They keep hearing and seeing things that aren't quite showing up on camera. Short flashes of movement out of the peripheral vision that go away when they try to look. But this part, taken in the back right of the theater at 7 minutes in a section where they keep hearing most of the noise, seems to show someone in the seats looking back at them.
Man, there's some serious creaking going on these steps right here.
The face has no detail, even though these are good quality cameras with night vision, and the head looks nearly see-through, almost like the after image of someone who can only exist through sheer willpower and nothing more.
Supposedly, a little girl saw 2 ghosts. Looks like a creepy little house. They say it's really haunted.
A team of ghost hunters investigate recent paranormal activity at the Craig house where a ghost sighting has left a little girl really creeped out. Her mother suspects the house is haunted.
So what do you think it is? Do you think it's...
Probably a ghost.
The Craig family was not surprised when their daughter had a ghost sighting, because they've all experienced paranormal activity too. Weird things like the dial on their radio moving on its own, unexplainable noises in the basement, and scary voices whispering hello. But this time the paranormal activity has gone too far by scaring their innocent daughter, And so the ghost hunters are called to investigate. They set up paranormal equipment in the haunted basement to see what kind of supernatural evidence they can capture on video. When nothing is caught on tape, the ghost hunters begin to doubt anything paranormal is down here, and so they challenge the ghost to reveal itself on camera.
Make something move off these shelves. You little...
No objects fall off the shelf, but apparently 3 minutes later a mysterious EVP is caught on camera when the ghost hunters are exploring the entrance to a room under the stairs. Keep in mind that paranormal equipment has been dormant for 25 minutes until they come across this hidden room, which appears to be empty, and when they open it, all of their equipment mysteriously turns off and needs to be restarted. So I think they've let out something paranormal. As ghost hunters, it is their job to replicate the results, so as to provide the best paranormal evidence possible, which in this case means standing outside of the small space and taunting the ghost some more.
Bring it to me. I'm going inside this little room. Demonic. Heaven or... Bring it to me. Let's see it. They said Jordan.
A strong and steady EVP does not stop until they take the batteries out, which I think were probably being drained fast. Judging from the weird sounds it makes, the ghost hunting equipment is being pushed past its limits and struggles to keep up with the paranormal energy surrounding it. Later, their EVP session takes them inside the closet of the girl's basement playroom, where she had a ghost sighting. He calls the ghost a coward for not properly showing itself, and...
Coward is what you are.
If you look behind him, an object seemingly moves on its own, or maybe he hooks it with his finger. It's kind of hard to say.
Did you not see it move by itself?
Yeah, but it's gotta be better than that. I gotta see it move by itself.
You still don't believe?
Not really.
Either way, this is probably one of the few videos I've ever seen where the ghost hunters argue about whether this scary moment is paranormal or fake, so let's help them figure it out. I think it was probably real because earlier, he did at some point ask the ghost to move an object to prove it was real. Schwinn Protocol wants to remodel his dreary basement, which only has a dirt floor. After digging many layers down, he finds this rusty old entranceway that presumably extends even deeper. He doesn't really have a good feeling about this at all, but he needs to know everything about the basement before he can get the job done, so he has to see for himself what's on the other side. He lifts the heavy cement plug, and white orbs soon follow, though I guess they could also be dust particles. Either way, he is puzzled to find a wide cavern filled with darkness. As his light traces along the rough edges of the floor, he slowly begins to piece together some unnerving observations out loud.
That's probably about a 13 or 15 foot drop. So definitely a bigger person wouldn't be able to fit down there. Wouldn't even be able to fit a ladder down there though,
So basically, this is a deep hole with an entrance that's too small for an adult, but just the right size to squeeze through a child. I'm not sure what this was really used for, but I do agree that it's weird to have a random hole in your basement that's easy to fall into and tough, if not impossible, to get out. To be fair, the YouTuber later wrote in the description that he thinks it was part of a drainage system that's no longer in use. Maybe he's right, or maybe he's just trying to explain something that he wishes he never saw. Someone could have spent their entire childhood down there for all we know. It's 1:40 in the morning and two friends are cruising down a dark road, completely unable to see what's on the other side. They both think that they spot movement in the trees, and having nothing better to do, they pull over and shine their headlights into the area. Nothing happens for some time, and then a figure slowly emerges from the dry brush. One of them says that they think this is a witch, and I agree that could be a possibility. They are dressed in all black and hunched over, holding what appears to be a walking stick. If this is not fake and that's not a third friend, then I can't imagine what anybody would be doing walking in complete darkness all alone, especially so late at night. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched. So he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. UK's Drizzly Jeremy goes exploring an abandoned building, in his words, just to see how it was.
I'm gonna explore an abandoned morgue. I don't want to go in because it looks scary.
Inside is quiet and creepy. Beyond a decrepit little office and break room, they find the morgue area, where the passed away were once kept in large refrigerated units. They retch at the disgusting stench. A layer of foul slime has rotted the floor.
Oh! What is it? The floor's all soggy, fam.
That's when some scary moments are caught on camera.
Go in there. You put it on. Off you, Andre. What? Bro.
They hear a loud noise behind them and quickly get out of there. I'm pretty sure the noise is coming from in the space where bodies once were.
What the
Are you brave enough to take one last look in that storage room before leaving? I wouldn't dare. Colts fan 210 posted the creepiest doorbell camera video ever on r/paranormal Reddit with one simple question. Why does this chair start rocking, he writes, adding that his brother gets quite scared when he turns around. I don't see anyone hiding behind the chair, but it's hard to tell because there's something in front of the chair and things look blurry. Colts fan 210 has no idea why the doorbell video is compressed and pixelated. It has never looked that way before or since, only this one time. Paranormal interference from a spirit in the chair could be one reason why. In 2010, a mysterious creature sighting was caught on a GoPro camera in Ontario at Algonquin Park. A large shadowy figure unsuccessfully attempts to conceal itself amongst the scenery, too tall to be a shrub and too wide to be a human. There's always the possibility that this is a mannequin and that the video is fake, but if not, then what could this strange roadside creature sighting along the woods possibly be?
And we are hurrying. Luckily, our house has sprinklers. When it was built, we've only been in this house for a week and a half. But we're getting everything that's important. And we're getting out of here.
This scary GoPro video sounds like the final moments of a family fleeing in terror from their haunted home, but that's not what's happening. Midnight is when Tyson and Haley get a phone call that they have to evacuate fast, not from something paranormal, but a situation just as terrifying nonetheless. Flames are tearing up the mountainside and heading towards their home. Now they have to keep their oldest son occupied and unafraid while not panicking themselves, trying their best to navigate around closed roads and other hazards. You can tell the father wants to scream, but he doesn't want to freak their kids out, so this is how he talks.
That's not good at all, huh, buddy? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to go up there.
What will happen if the fire comes to our car?
We would turn around and drive away.
He's definitely a good father for not scaring his children, but the reality of the situation is, at least from what I can tell, that they are low on gas and stuck in traffic without much control over where they go next. Police are frantically trying to direct traffic and stay in communication with the fire department to guide cars away from the blazing inferno, and it isn't looking too good for them. Eventually, they break away and find a moment to collect themselves at the gas pump. As they watch the inferno in the distance, adrenaline finally wearing off, it occurs to them just how close to being goners they really were.
I've never had that feeling or adrenaline rush before. That was crazy.
I'm really glad this wasn't the family's final moments caught on GoPro, and hope they have some good memories ahead to help balance out this horrifying event. This Jinn has a sense of humor. Published by Hassan Barbar in May of 2022, the paranormal explorer is in this abandoned place when a Jinn alerts him to his presence, yet he does not appear. As the unseen makes more noise, Hassan follows the sound, then the thing starts to laugh. Or is this a laugh?
طب إذا أنت هون ظلم طبعا طلع شو تحب هاليوم جابنا.
The noise continues, leading him around this empty maze. Soon it sounds like it's breaking something apart, and then that unnerving laughter again.
هو المكان كبير بصدر الصوت من هون أو من هون مش عارف.
Where is it coming from? The Jinn speaks to him, but what does he want? We may never know.
مش عارف. اطلع. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
A YouTuber named Bradley, not Bradley, is scheduled for a medical procedure on his nose, but the doctor needs to run some tests first. So he heads to the hospital for a pre-examination. Overall, he is in a fairly cheerful mood, and you can tell that he is not expecting for this routine visit to become one of the most terrifying days of his life. The nurse sticks a needle in his arm and the syringe turns bright red. Everything seems to go fine at first, but after the extraction is over, he suddenly feels faint.
The worst that happens is you just go to sleep for a second. It's fine.
I'm scared.
You're fine. I'm right here.
The entire ordeal only lasts a few minutes total, but I'm sure it feels a lot longer to Bradley, who needs to be repeatedly calmed down by his friend as he tries not to pass out. He regains his composure and reluctantly sits up, speaking slowly and still looking dazed. If you happen to have a fear of needles, then I'd be interested in knowing if your reaction is similar or different than what Bradley does here. Ali H claims to have bought this mystery box for $1,000. The bottom of the box is covered with paper towels, so he can't see what's underneath. He absent-mindedly reaches straight into the box without a second thought, a decision he soon regrets.
But something literally just, what the pricked me? Guys, I think I just screwed up.
Ali H is pricked by a strange needle that's tangled in tufts of foreign hair. The rest of the items appear to be weird chemicals that Ali H can't identify. By the end of the video, his finger is throbbing and he knows he needs medical attention quick.
I'm literally going to the hospital with this whole package, and I'm gonna just tell them what happened, and I'm just gonna be straight up with them. But look at this.
I didn't see any actual liquids inside of the syringe, which is good, but I guess there could still be some sort of contagion on the tip of the needle itself. I was thinking he should have washed his hands immediately, but be sure to let me know if there are some extra steps Ali H could have taken to save his health. Ali H made this video in August of 2018, and at the moment, no update has been provided. In yet another CCTV video, a ghost possesses a woman at a store in China. In the video, you see a package fall on its own accord from the third shelf. It could have just been stuff there, teetering on the edge, causing it to fall at the slightest breeze. Although it doesn't appear to be teetering, that's certainly a possibility. But what's strange is it appears to move for a moment before actually taking the leap, leading a skeptical onlooker to consider that it may also be something paranormal. What happens next will make you think the same thing. A female shopper, surprised by the sound of the package falling, turns to look. Being considerate, she walks back, picks up the package, looks at it, and sets it back on the third shelf. The shopper drops the other package she's holding, as the possession seems to take complete control over her body. With one hand on the package, her head flings back and falls forward, back and forward, back and forward, as if in seizure. She manages to pry her hand from the packaging and turns her back towards it, but her body and mind are fully possessed. The demon takes control of her until another female shopper alerts staffers for help. They are seen gathered around her, trying to subdue her, but she won't be subdued. Her body seizes suddenly again, and the camera even seizes for a moment, as the three surrounding the woman are launched back by the demon's energy. We don't know what happened to the woman, whether the demon fled her body at this moment, or if it still possesses her today. Hungry for a midnight snack? This video will get you over your nighttime hunger. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Paranormal Nightmares explains, my husband got up to grab a bowl of cereal, and we had the security cam recording in our kitchen because earlier in the day a cupboard opened on its own. We decided to record overnight, but this happened and it scared him. In the video, the dude is nonchalantly making himself a bowl of cereal as mentioned, but when he goes to grab the milk from the fridge, the cereal box moves clear across the counter on its own. Surprised, the man brushes it off, but as he pours his milk, the box moves slightly, and when he returns to the fridge, it slides clear across the counter again, finally falling to the floor. Needless to say, this guy takes this as his cue to book it out of the kitchen. Many YouTubers advise this poor haunted couple to move, while others are more worried about whether or not the guy eventually got his cereal, because you know, priorities. YouTuber X Hurtari is hanging out with some friends in a cul-de-sac when they encounter an angry woman who seemingly confronts them for no reason.
You don't know where I live.
It won't be hard to figure out. You're out all the time.
Why are you gonna? I try to apologize. Quit walking towards me. Quit walking towards me.
At the start of the video, he is apologizing for something and tells her to have a good day, but it isn't clear what he is apologizing for. Over the next 4 minutes, this woman angrily rambles at the boys, while the YouTuber tries to calm down the situation. Things get scary when the woman starts to drive off, but stops and begins reversing towards the boys in the street. In the end, nothing gets resolved between the groups and the lady eventually drives off. The question remains is why was this woman so upset, and we may never get the answer to that question. Vadim Vadimich is a Russian YouTuber who often explores the radioactive remains of Chernobyl, an abandoned power plant that went into meltdown during the 1980s. On this journey, he and his friends find an abandoned daycare center that seems quite haunted. One of the first things they find are two dolls. One is headless and the other has poked-in eyes, shaded black all around, as if someone was pressing down aggressively hard as they scribbled. It's not a welcoming sign, but could just be the work of some edgy teens, or maybe even someone in their own group, so they press on. Across from the dolls is this picture of a Russian team all huddled around a strange object in the center. I don't know what this is in the middle, so someone help me out because it might be a clue. I assume this was a picture of the kids who used to come here before the meltdown. Who knows how many, if any, actually made it to adulthood due to the radioactive exposure. Immediately behind the photo is a creepy old picture of a Russian woman in full uniform crying. I don't understand the significance of this picture, but I feel like they are saying something important here, so translate this part from Russian to English if you can. After a while, it becomes apparent that they are all being watched. These white eyes first appear on the other side of a window at 2 minutes and 15 seconds. I thought it was just his light, until I realized the light is hitting his chest and shouldn't be visible behind him at all. And here at 3 minutes and 52 seconds, the eyes appear again in a doorway, much closer. It's just for a split second, but I mean, whose flashlight looks like that? Nobody's that I know. Those look like eyes for sure, glowing ones at that. They come across a portion of building they've explored before, but this time the door is partially opened, so they cautiously step inside. The first thing I noticed were these floating eyes at 7 minutes and 56 seconds. They look exactly the same size and shape as the ones before, but what they saw was the top of someone's head, someone incredibly tall and standing totally still. Standing motionless is a figure, with a blacked out face and long white garbs. They run away and soon encounter it again. Its white clothes somewhat resemble the doll clothes we saw earlier. Could that have been a warning? When it gets close to them, it seems shorter than before, but impossibly broad-shouldered and powerful looking. I don't know why they let it get this close, but I guess they were frozen in place from fear and tired from running. I hope this was just a mannequin or something, but when it does this, I know it's far from a prop.
Да, Вадим, уйди назад.
The group retreats back inside, and now cornered eventually resorts to smashing through a window and takes a risk climbing through broken glass just to get away from whatever they just saw. So I think it's real. Steve Richards and Jason Griffiths make up the Ouija brothers, a fearless ghost hunting duo from the English Midlands. What makes them different from most, aside from their bravery, is that they are more skeptical and often set out to debunk famous haunted locations rather than promote them. With that said, they may have met their match at Shepton Mallet Prison. Built in 1610, Shepton Mallet Prison is the oldest prison in the country and also was the longest running until its closure in 2013. 4 centuries of brutal treatment have since created hostile spirits who were, for the most part, already not good people to begin with. So much horror has happened here that a strange feeling of negative energy is said to have washed over the very walls themselves, and it isn't long before the Ouija brothers, despite their usual level-headedness, find themselves looking over their shoulder and questioning every sound. Sure, any building that's centuries old is bound to make some really creepy noises, and some of what they record just sounds like the foundation setting and stuff like that. But other encounters, like what happens here only 2 minutes into their investigation, seems to be in response to a very specific question.
Are you upstairs?
I agree with them that it's coming from somewhere above, but let me know if you do too. Whatever's following them, it seems to prefer to have a height advantage at all times. But check this part out at 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Jason actually looks up a split second before he hears the noise. So did they plan this and he messed up? Or did he sense it moments prior?
Is that you?
He was up above, weren't he?
Confident they found a particularly haunted prison wing to explore, the Ouija brothers walk past each cell, encouraging anything inside to come forth, and they gently coax the spirit into revealing itself. Steve is too busy looking straight ahead and misses the light anomaly appear against the wall right next to him. I fully admit that it could be their camera equipment, but it never happens again a single time. And get this, the light appears at the exact same moment. Jason wanted to know if the spirit remembers what life was like at Shepton Mallet Prison.
If you wish to come out, knock on the door that you want to come out of. Do you remember?
Neither of them see this though, and so unaware that it's already worked, Jason continues to talk to the spirit about how the prison guards were able to go home while they had to stay here, and out comes the loudest bang of all.
Whoa, what was that?
But that's not all they hear. They get out the electromagnetic meter to try and measure air currents for paranormal activity. Nothing happens at first, but then it beeps loudly and turns green for a long time. They can't get the meter to do it again, and are trying to figure out if this was a glitch when they are interrupted by something scary mid-sentence. I'll enhance the audio to make it easier to hear.
It sounded very violent, didn't it?
It's a small, muffled voice from far away, so tiny and distant that it shouldn't have even registered on camera, not with that heavy door closed behind them, and yet it reaches their ears with alarming clarity. They agree it's a woman, but still they are unable to pinpoint its exact location, and when they go outside, the prison is as empty as ever. According to legend, this could be the voice of one of the oldest prisoners, a woman known only as the Woman in White. She is said to have taken the life of her fiancé and passed away in 1680 from regret. Now she wanders the A and B wings moaning her sorrows, and as they are searching for her, the electromagnetic reader they left behind goes crazy once again, indicating that while they may have left the room, perhaps she has not, and the reason why they were able to hear her so clearly was because her ghostly presence had been standing not in another room, but behind them all along. In a dark tunnel, no one can hear you scream, except for maybe the odd urban explorer wandering through that tunnel. Cringy Parkour published this footage in May of 2017 writing, "I heard like screeching or something in the tunnel and I want to go check it out. At first I thought it was like a pig or something. But what I record on the camera obviously was not a pig." The clip shows this YouTuber marching quickly through the dark tunnel ahead. There's water at the base of the tunnel, random graffiti on the walls, and it seems like it should be empty. What is this sound then? It doesn't sound like a scream. A YouTuber in India named Ghost Live Raja has caught on livestream what he claims is real paranormal evidence while exploring an abandoned building known only as the Ghost House. He burns a candle to invoke the spirit world, and soon some pretty creepy moments are caught on live stream that he hasn't been able to explain. The sound is coming from the other side of the blue door, but when they open it, nothing but forest overgrowth is on the other side, or at least that's what I thought until I saw what appears to be a figure, half concealed, looking right at them at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, there for a moment and then mysteriously gone.
உங்களுக்கு தில் இருந்தா வந்து என்ன அடிக்க முடியுமா? எங்க ரெண்டு பேர்த்துல யாரோ ஒருத்தர் அடி பார்க்கல வந்து. அவ்வளவு தில் இருந்துச்சுனா.
This still image taken at that same time better illustrates what I mean. A strange figure with a black hood covering a bony, smirking face. Outside, he finds this strange triangular formation that he calls a ghost warning. I think he might be talking about witchcraft, but I'm not sure what he means, so fill me in if you know more. He also comes across this pile of raised earth and rubble with a cross planted at the top. Something tells me this is the source of the activity. Whatever or whoever is buried under this rock pile is probably responsible for haunting the house. Zishan Sheikh is fooling people with a scream mask all night until he goes a little too far. He's sitting in the road with his back turned when he scares the driver of this vehicle unconscious. I don't know if it's staged or if this person had some kind of heart condition and passed out. I'm not even sure he is still alive at this point. Either way, this YouTuber cradles the person's body in his arms and prays. It's unclear what happens next. The fact that they immediately stopped recording makes me think this stranger's reaction could be real. Aquatic researchers are stunned to see this massive shark pass by their cameras at a depth of 3,300 feet below sea level.
Here he comes again. Here he comes. Got it. Man.
Can you get him on?
Whoa.
Oh, look how thick he is.
He's huge.
As the giant shark circumnavigates their equipment, the researchers try to estimate its measurements based on the space between the two laser dots. Well, this size falls short of an adult megalodon. Some people have pointed out that this could be a juvenile, since all scientists have to go off of is their teeth and backbone fossils. We may never know for sure. Chelsea Luna and her friend James go ghost hunting in an old haunted tunnel from the 1920s. This creepy shadow figure at 18 minutes and 7 seconds is what they find. Everyone says that this is a real ghost sighting, but I'm pretty sure this alleged apparition is simply Chelsea's finger while pointing at something. You can kind of see the rest of her hand when you look close, a split second before it happens. So I think this scary ghost sighting is an accident and not real. A YouTuber named Joey Concialdi is joking around with his friend when he pretends to dive under the covers to be silly. As he is doing so, the thin bizarre outline of a scrawny shadow person is seen behind him for a split second, and by the time he comes back up, it's gone. Joey is certain that this ghost sighting is real, but I'm wondering if it was just the banister seen a few seconds later. It looks to be in a different position and not as dark, and therefore probably was not it. Route 666 in Ohio is well known for all sorts of paranormal sightings, such as hitchhikers without a face and other demonic entities. With this in mind, a YouTuber named The Planet Earth decides to take a long drive down Route 666 at night and records everything with his dash cam. The entire 17-minute video is rife with fear and suspense as this YouTuber thinks he sees something multiple times and bravely stops the car to investigate. One part of the video is particularly concerning. Keep your eyes on the left side and tell me if you see anything weird in the darkness.
Okay. What is that?
I'm not sure if this is just a reflection of a road sign or something, but there appears to be two glowing eyes on the left side of the road. If these are reflective markers, then I'm not sure why someone would bother putting two of them in the middle of nowhere like that. With all of the rumors surrounding Route 666, I wouldn't be surprised if this red pair of eyes belonged to something supernatural, waiting for the next car to break down. If this video doesn't get your heart racing, it certainly did for this guy. His name is Daniel Stanley, and he gets so pumped up that he can make his heart do this. Watch this and tell me if you know what medical condition this is called. I couldn't find much information on this person, aside from the name and his reputation for being able to make his heart race so hard it nearly pops out of his chest. So please fill me in about his life if you happen to know more. A 4-circuit CCTV system in Japan shows a woman waiting to get an elevator, but what we're looking at is the woman in the upper right monitor who is about to do the impossible. Did you see it? If not, I'll show you again. This does appear to be at least somewhat edited, especially when you pause halfway through and get that green screen look, but maybe it's just a glitch with the video file, and I need to accept the possibility that it could actually be real. It's 6 in the morning, and a YouTuber named Sheezy is about to go home after a long shift at the hospital. All he needs to do is return this 1-ton x-ray machine and then clock out. Unfortunately for him, the elevator gets stuck on the 5th floor and suddenly drops to the 1st floor without warning. It happens so fast that the floor numbers don't even register until the very end, but it's not over yet. The elevator rushes from the ground floor to the 5th floor, ready to drop again, and if that x-ray machine slides back and pins him against the wall, it wouldn't matter if he's at a hospital or not, because it's going to flatten him in seconds. This time, he hits the emergency stop before he can drop again. After a minute and a half, engineers rush to get him out of there. A man finds himself trapped on the 30th floor of the Shinjuku Center building in Tokyo after the entire city was rocked by a 9.1 quake. Now nowhere is safe and there is nothing left to do except to record as doors and cabinets swing open uncontrollably and the entire building shakes.
오! 아버네! 맞지 아버네! 맞지 아버네!
Everything grows eerily silent, and then this voice cuts through the speakers. There is a lot of frantic chatter in the background, so I think it was a live broadcast, not a recording. Try and translate if you can, because if you were there, your life may have very well have depended on following these instructions.
こちらは防災センターです。ただいま大きな地震を感じました。この建物は地震に対して安全な設計になっております。
After a while, the speakers turn off, and the guest hopelessly watches as the buildings sway like trees. It's kind of hard to see what I'm talking about, because the building he's in is shaking too. This second video, taken near the top floor of the Shinjuku Center building, shows how bad the shaking really was. The buildings look like they are going to topple at any moment, but they are actually designed to be incredibly flexible and can withstand intense vibrations. Keep in mind that these are just the smaller aftershocks, and not the actual quake itself, which was, believe it or not, much worse. This video is quite short at only 7 seconds in length and leaves us with more questions than answers. Two girls are filming a YouTube video with a large doll toy. If someone could translate this part, it could give us more insight into what the video was supposed to be about.
Bueno, aquí les presentamos a la muñeca de Bessie que se la regalaron a sus 15 años.
No manches, mira.
Instead, the toy starts moving all on its own, staring directly at one of the girls. The girl off camera tells her to look at the toy, and when she does, she throws it down in fear. Their reactions both seem very genuine, and if this isn't paranormal, then I have no idea what caused this. YouTuber Don John Averon claims to have captured an unknown humanoid on tape while deep in the woods in 2016. But without more information or evidence, little can be verified in regards to this video's authenticity. But if it's real, then this chilling footage shows Dawn silently creeping up on an ape-like creature that has tiny legs and a hunched over upper body. The humanoid does not seem to notice him as it casually swings its massive arms while walking. It moves like a human, but apparently has giant sloth-like arms with no fingers. It retreats deeper into the forest and Dawn doesn't follow. A YouTuber named Daniel Ott performs a summoning ritual that quickly comes to a close after he begins to feel weird. In doing so, he accidentally records a strange moving light while describing how bad he feels.
I don't know, my body, it just doesn't feel right now. I've just been hearing things.
It might be trails of light left by the paranormal, or it could just be light reflecting off the chandeliers as he crosses the dining room. But still, as soon as he walks into the next room, this fleeting shadow appears on the wall. It could belong to him, but the angles don't quite match up.
Alright guys, that's gonna be the end of the video. I'm not sure if I'm probably gonna make another one of these.
One of these experiences could be easily explained away, but having both of them happen back to back is almost too much of a coincidence for me to believe, especially after a summoning ritual. These contractors are doing some roof work when a woman who none of them have ever seen before decides to randomly scale the ladder and walk around the roof like she owns the place. The workers eventually convince her to climb down the ladder after a minute of debate, but judging from how she comes down, it's obvious that she doesn't have much concern for her safety or anyone else's. Here she nearly pulls the ladder over on herself. She would have absolutely sent the ladder to the ground if she was even just a few rings lower.
What is she doing? What is she doing?
I don't know if she's under the influence of something or having a nervous breakdown, but I have trouble believing anyone in their right mind would try this next maneuver from any distance, let alone from so high up.
What the?
Next, she hangs off the ladder like a trapeze artist and does one of the craziest dismounts I have ever seen. Watch how badly the ladder wobbles. It really does look like it's going to give out at any second.
Oh my goodness, what's wrong with this lady?
The video ends as soon as she's on the ground, so I'm not sure what happens next. Hopefully they got her the medical attention she needs and did not let her go down the street to do something even more reckless. A YouTuber named Baskir Beniwal has been thinking about the strange events of this unexplained video taken on his helmet cam at night in India. The more he thinks about the mysterious encounter that I'm about to show you, the less sense it makes to him, and the more scared he becomes. So let's try to solve this video and help him explain the unexplained. Okay, so he's returning home with his friends, but the roads are very dark and soon they become completely lost. They are already going slow to look for road signs when a speed bump slows them down even more. That's when they capture on camera a mysterious figure in white walking up ahead. At first they are excited because they think he will be able to give them directions to get back home, but the mysterious figure instead does not say a word or even acknowledge them, staring straight the whole time. Tell me what's being said during this short interaction in case I'm missing anything important.
भैया सही तो है ना आदमी? पूछो भैया 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 क्या हो गया? क्या हुआ?
Something about the man is extremely off-putting and instantly gives this YouTuber the impulse to get away fast. After a while, however, they figure there's no harm in trying to ask for directions from him a second time, and so they turn around. But here's where things get weird. They go to where he last was sighted, only to find...
था तो सही ना पैदल चलता हुआ इंसान Mysterious.
That the mysterious figure has completely vanished, and it's not like a lot of time has gone by or anything like that. They encounter the strange silent man, keep going for another 20 seconds, turn around, and then drive back for another 20 seconds to where he just was. So not even a minute has passed before the figure mysteriously disappears. Assuming this was a person and not a spirit, he could have seen the motorcycle turning around and got scared, so he found somewhere to hide. But here's the thing, I never told you where they were returning from. They had spent the day at the Bangar Fort, which is said to be of the most haunted places in all of India, so maybe this was a ghost sighting of something paranormal that was following them home. I mean, walking around in the middle of the night in total darkness is weird. Not stepping off the road when a vehicle approaches is even weirder, and staring straight ahead when someone calls for your attention is just bizarre. So maybe it was a ghost on video after all. WebDriver Torso is one of the few YouTube channels that continues to stay creepy even after being supposedly debunked. A number of years ago, this channel was discovered uploading videos that were all rectangles and frequencies. The videos are somewhat mesmerizing to watch, and many people claim they will lure you into a strange state of mind over time. Google has since come forth with an official explanation that this channel is used only to test video quality, but this is a really vague explanation, and plenty of people are convinced that this is a cover-up story for something more sinister. Meanwhile, the videos have only gotten longer and are now up to 25 minutes and 1 second in length. Also, one day in 2013, WebDriver Torso uploaded this strange video seemingly for no reason at all, further adding to the mystery. As to exactly what this means, your guess is as good as mine. This channel could be anything from a video quality testing site like Google says, to a mind control experiment, or even an AI program gone rogue. Also, if you can explain this channel's rather cryptic name to me, I'd definitely like to hear your best guess, though I really doubt anyone can. This next video shows that even a zipline is in perfect condition. With flawless equipment is never truly safe. Sometimes things just go wrong. A giant gator pops up to try and snag this instructor out of the air. There is a decent amount of space between the two, but I'm sure it was plenty close enough if you asked her. And she definitely knows what waits for her should she ever make a future mistake and fall in. So I guess the final and most important lesson of ziplining over water is to always keep your legs up, because you never know what's lurking below the surface waiting to take a chomp. A YouTube channel called the Yak Attack FL has to think fast and battle back when a hammerhead shark takes an interest in them. A single sudden movement could tip over the kayak, so he has to remain balanced and sitting down while adrenaline courses through him. There's nothing left to do but try to scare it away however they can. He smacks the shark with his paddle, and you don't see it, but you can hear the force as he connects. This just drives the shark closer to the person recording, and in this moment you can tell that it has the extra wide jaws and flat head of a real hammerhead shark. As these tooth marks later show, the shark was testing them and would have been ready to take a chomp out of any arms or legs hanging over. Eventually it gets tired of their battling back and leaves them in peace. So if you were stuck in a one-person kayak and sharks start to circle, do you think this is an appropriate way to handle it? I don't think I could personally get aggressive like this towards the shark, but as this video shows, it may have saved these fishermen. A telephone pole goes down, leaving wires scattered across the road. Witnesses are calling police when somebody makes the curious mistake of walking up close for a better look.
That's the whole point. I'm supposed to be around electricity.
I'm not exaggerating when I say a bolt of electricity could shoot through this line and strike him down. The wire he steps over at 14 seconds is the same wire shown here at 6 seconds, still connected to the pole. This person should be nowhere near the area. Downed power lines are extremely hazardous because they can still be active, and there's no way to tell until it's too late. He's extremely lucky he's alive, and I'm surprised nobody in these cars were shouting at him to get back. If you see a situation like this, never do what this person does, or it could be your last moments on Earth. A motorcycle vlog turns paranormal when a man in India goes exploring down a long haunted cemetery road. His dash cam refuses to focus as he rides past the cemetery gates. So strong is the paranormal energy, he thinks he made a big mistake coming down here, and based on what happens next, I'd say he was right. Their lights chance upon a lone figure wearing a dress. There's no reason for anyone to be on foot out here at this hour. No flashlight or any source of light. Minutes away from a haunted cemetery. The figure is not a tree and appears to be stepping first towards and then away from them. I suppose it could be a pedestrian, but like I said, why someone would be roaming this eerie place is anyone's guess. A YouTuber named JPays57 catches a 1.5 minute long slew of paranormal activity in a solid white room that's mostly bare. First a paper flies up, and then with no one in the room, mind you, a woman's voice says a single word I wanted you to interpret. As for the piece of paper moving, I don't hear the wind, and besides that, the paper actually blows towards the window, so that explanation wouldn't really make sense. A toolbox and a closet open at once, which could be coordinated between two people, but there's nobody in the room to pick up the camera and see who's in there. I hear a strange, otherworldly sigh. Do you? It sounds upset, and nothing like the woman's voice before. The closet door closes, and then the door closes shortly after. Somebody could be on the other side of the closet, but nobody is on either side of the door. I don't see any fishing wire tied around the knob, but I admit it's kind of too far away to tell, so tell me if you're convinced. A YouTuber named SBRT Life is going to investigate some train tracks that are rumored to be haunted by an inhuman creature. The tracks are reportedly hard to cross and very narrow. Numerous people are said to have been run over or fallen to their doom. They sneak past a fence, and it isn't long before they hear strange noises from an unseen beast. They soon find a set of tracks elevated high off the ground. The bottom is pitch black and they can't even see how high up they are. One of them gets a little too bold and goes out a long distance.
No, we're not out that far. No, if you look down, you're out that far, you'll die.
Then, as if right on time, the worst equipment malfunction possible occurs.
Oh my god. Alex, my light won't come back on.
Suspended high above ground in total darkness, this YouTuber hears a train horn.
There's a train coming. There's a train. Get your boots. Get your boots, Tyler.
The group of friends now blindly races ahead, desperately trying not to fall off the tracks or get run over. Finally, with the track fast approaching, they are forced to jump. As you can see here, they barely make it out alive as the train passes overhead. Fortunately, they had cleared most of the track, and it was only about a 5-foot drop instead of 30. The only thing that saved them that night was their own speed. As for what caused their flashlights to turn off, the group has little doubt that it was the very same creature that the legend spoke of. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.